And good afternoon. This is Seattle Mariners baseball by the Rooftop Sports, joined by, as usual, Steve Silver. And we are here to cover the Mariners game and the Colorado Rockies game. And it should be an interesting game, but I think it's mostly about who is playing off the bench more than who's on the starting lineup, because that's how spring training works. It's about who in the youth is actually going to be the ones worth watching. And we've had quite a bit of display from our Mariners prospects. Colt Emerson, Jordan Alvarez Jr., and even Harry Ford hit a home run against the Cubs.
Yeah. How about that, man?
How about that?
Listen, again, as you know, I always like these just because it's a cool little hangout, spring training. And, next to actually being down in, Peoria, Arizona, this is second best to, see exactly how this team is progressing through spring. You look at today's lineup, and it's actually not a terrible lineup for the Mariners, except for, it looks like their DH position. Rowdy Tellez is in there today. Dylan Moore gets to start at second base. JP's down the order. I like that Locklier's playing first base today. Rayleigh's playing a little bit in the outfield. So, overall, this kind of feels like something of what we might see on opening day. So I'm a little interested in it.
Yeah, I like that Victor Robles is getting the game time. Got Julio Rodriguez, who hit a couple homers. Cal Raleigh is in there. I like that we have Tyler Locklear, but the ones I'm most curious about is who's going to be coming off the bench, because I would like to see some Lazaro Montez, which it looks like he's not on the roster today, but we may see some Colt Emerson, who is on the rise in the minor leagues, but probably would expect him to start in Everett, just like Lazaro Montez. And
we got, I believe we got Felman Celestine is going to be on this pitch. It looks like, Colt Emerson, Harry Ford, Mitch Garver, Haniger, Cade Marlowe. Looks like Randy Arozarena, Ryan Bliss. So there's some names on there. There's some names on that bench.
Yeah, there are names on the bench, especially Felny and Celestine, who is also a heavily hyped prospect for the Mariners. I'm trying to see somewhere in the Twitter X where they're saying who are the Mariners roster for today. Maybe I'll look at the Mariners lineup.
I actually kind of I'm looking forward to seeing Donovan Solano. I haven't really seen a lot of them in spring, so I'm curious to see exactly one of the Mariners signees of this offseason. So more, actually, I'll be perfectly honest. What I'm actually really looking forward to is seeing Victor Robles. You know how I feel about him. I don't necessarily think he's an everyday player. I think he's more of a fourth outfielder. But that being said, the Mariners are putting a lot of stock into the season. Obviously, Julio Rodriguez. But there's a few names in today's lineup. It's not a terrible lineup. I think it's actually well balanced. So, I guess that's like the plus of having Dan Wilson as your manager, because at least he understands. At least he understands balance.
He does. I mean, he couldn't be any less balanced than Scott Service. And speak of the organization, there has been quite a bit of flack going on between Mariners organization and Justin Turner, where he completely blasted the organization. It seems as if he was like the ambassador for us fans, because it's something that we have been saying for how many years of not spending money.
How many years now? Yeah, by the way, wasn't that beautiful? Justin Turner, who wanted to return to Seattle, and I actually thought for a long time he probably would. It's not like he was going to get like any type of huge contract. You're probably talking like maybe a 1 year, $3 million deal with some type of incentives, if he, has a good season. That didn't materialize. And so he goes on the offensive, and he literally just throws nothing but smoke, nothing but shade at Mariner management, Mariner ownership. And then the best thing was the response, right? It's not being proactive, it's being reactive. And of course, then they had the apologist, the subsequent articles that were making excuses and apologists for Jerry DiPoto. The whole 54%, how he, didn't communicate it well. And it's like, come on, man. As soon as Justin Turner throws nothing but smoke and just nothing but shade, and then all of a sudden, the beat writers have to clean up after Justin Turner with these like apologist tour, our articles, and it's just laughable right now. That's the whole thing. It's so embarrassing that it's like, if you can't laugh at it, it's
And not only that, there's even people that I don't even know if they have direct ties to the Mariners media, and they are still playing the apologetic game. It's almost like some of these people are simping for the organization, because I think they just want to get a spot, which I wouldn't even do that. I will not simp for the Mariners just to like maybe get a chance to be more connected with them. You know what? I'd rather be honest, and I'd rather be hated. No, I'd rather be hated for being honest than loved for lying.
How do you simp for a team that's been around for nearly half a century and has yet to make a World Series appearance? That is known for mismanagement more than its division titles, right? So you can't simp for this team. The more that this local media continues to do it, the less credibility they have in my eyes. And of course, this organization has a history of taking beat writers to the woodshed, right? Like if you write anything negative, we'll pull your credential. That's the truth about this organization. It's like they will not deal with negative press. They have something to sell, and they're going to sell it. And unfortunately, there's a large portion of our fan base that slurps it up like Kool-Aid. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, man.
It is what it is. But then there's also the old saying, why don't we do something about it? And it's people like us and other Mariner YouTubers that are trying to get their voices out there.
And I think it's important, right? The mainstream beat writers can't be the only voices for the fans. That's why I actually think it's very important that Mariner YouTubers continue to hold this franchise accountable. The more that Mariner YouTubers continue to hold this franchise accountable, the more that narrative gets out, and the more accountable they're going to have to be held. Last year was a perfect example. The whole RoofTopSports debacle going into that offseason, that built-in excuse of we can't spend money because we don't know exactly how this cable debacle is going to play out. And then come the deadline, they have no problem spending money. You know what I mean? So it's like, was that really an issue, or did you just not want to spend in the offseason? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. To me, it's the biggest thing. It's like, you can't insult my intelligence. I've been around for far too long. I know exactly how this game is played from a baseball financial standpoint, the economics of sports. You can't tell me anything and just expect me to take it for face value, man. Like, I do my research, and I know how this works, and I understand that the Mariners are risk averse. And it's not just the Mariners. There's a lot of teams that actually play the game that way. But that being said, when you look at the national TV deal that Major League Baseball has, and the amount of money and the amount of revenue the Mariners get per year, it's just ridiculous to think that a local cable contract is going to be the difference between your ability to spend versus your ability not to spend. It's like, come on, man, you can't tell me that.
And I would think that RoofTopSports is also showing its weakness, because now they're actually charging Mariner fans for actually wanting to watch the Mariners. So the sign of weakness is showing. That it is a sign that it's dying, and Mariners are just absolutely desperate to keep their relationship with the cable companies.
Actually, it's quite simple. Bring the in-house broadcast to your website, and then charge a yearly subscription, right? Whether it be
$99.
No, it's like, for 162 game schedule, just charge $10 per season. And, you're still going to be able to make money. It's going to be cheaper than cable, and fans will have 162 games. You can have the broadcast in house. You already have everything at the stadium, anyways. It's not exactly like the hardest thing to do, but that's too simple for a team like the Mariners.
It is too simple, as we have gotten the first two pitches in. Luis Castillo is now working on a 1-1 count. We got Nick Martini, Ezekiel Tovar, and Miguel Togla. I probably said that wrong. And that is a 2-1 count for Luis Castillo. And
We got ourselves a double martini.
Yeah, double martini, shaken, not stirred, as we've got Castillo. He is projected now to be the 5th starter, possibly. Now the pitch. And now here's a ground ball, right? And it's right gets by the second baseman, Dylan Moore. And now that's going to be a single, or shall be an error charged to Dylan Moore, as we got a man on first base.
Yeah.
Hey, Jonathan, how's it going?
Yeah. Well, I highly doubt he's going to be. I highly doubt that he's going to be the 5th starter, just because of the amount of money that he makes. You would probably assume that he's going to be a little higher up. But that being said, I'd love to see. I'd love to see that accountability.
The accountability is needed, just like what they did with Felix Hernandez in 2019.
Oh, Dylan, that was terrible.
So much for being the Gold Glove for utility players.
Ah, Dylan. How do you dude? That easily could have been good. Lord, Dylan.
And we got a foul ball going into the stands, well out of play. And looking at the beautiful stadium of Peoria, I'm pretty sure it's Peoria because they're at home. If they're not, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, I think them. Yeah, because
they are in Peoria.
Yeah, they're in Peoria. So how have you enjoyed the sporting weekend so far?
Sporting weekend. What have I missed? We got Mariners baseball.
Sounders won 5-2.
And we got a line drive to right field, and I think that's going to drop in for a base hit. Nope, that's an out. It's just that the feed on my streaming is just so blurry you can't even tell.
I think the Kraken are playing right now.
So. Well, I've been busy with training for softball, watching my cousin's basketball games. He's a middle school kid, plays for JV.
Hey, yeah.
And I got more to say. Here's the pitch, and that is in there for a strike. Last weekend, I helped participated in a Special Olympics basketball tournament as one of the coaches.
Very cool. Very cool.
Made it all the way to semifinals, but unfortunately, the pitch, that's going to be a ball. But unfortunately, our team had to run into a team that bent the rules. They got a couple of their players that claimed, I'll just say it, ADHD to get on the team and the league.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
And they were clearly athletic guys. And there was another team where a guy could dunk with authority. We were talking windmills.
So essentially what you're saying is that a team had ringers in the Special Olympics. Is that what you're saying?
The worst part was we were in the B division and we were expected to stay there, and we were the favorites. But because we played too well in our division, they moved us to the A. They moved us up at the last second, and one of my players, as soon as he got the message, he stormed up to his hotel room in disgust. And this is a guy who has seizures and epilepsy issues. We have players with Down syndrome and high level of autism, and they were able to hang on with this team to only lose by 4 points to the Ringers.
That's not bad, man. That's a good tournament to get to the semifinal. That's a very good tournament. Congratulations to those guys and gals that participated in that basketball tournament.
It was a great tournament. Just unfortunate that at the last second we were kind of in the wrong end of it. Yeah. And the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike one.
I don't want to say that ADHD is not a disability, but that being said, it's that's a little bit of a stretch to be participating in a Special Olympics tournament, to bring in ringers to win a tournament like that, when you actually have people with legit disabilities that are just out there having fun and competing. And I don't know, it kind of makes me, it kind of gets me a little fired up a little bit. That's all I'll say.
You should have saw my reaction. I'll tell a little bit more at the commercial break. 1-2 pitch and a swing and a miss down the dirt. And that is strike three. And Luis Castillo pumps his fist, and that will retire the side. One hit, but the Mariners get away with it. We will go to the bottom of the first. So, yeah, once we got the announcement, because the funny thing was we tried to tank the third game. We lost the third game on purpose because we wanted to avoid that bracket, but they still put us in anyway. And as soon as I got the announcement, oh my gosh, I actually went on a huge tirade Like, I was saying BS, this and that so much that our team got moved into a meeting room away from the lobby. That's how upset I really was, along with a few other
Yeah,
players.
I think I would be too. Do you remember that movie with Johnny Knoxville where he pretended to have a disability to compete in the Special Olympics? I think it was called The Ringer. Did you ever
I
see
never
that
saw that.
movie?
I gotta see this movie.
Yeah,
The Ring.
he pretends to have a disability, and then he falls in love with the girl that was organizing it. I can't remember her name, but it was to me that's like you know, you got to be a special kind of evil to do that to stack the deck against guys and gals that are already dealing with special needs, man. That's you gotta like you really have to be a low down piece of garbage to pull that type of and claim
And
ADHD. It's like, come on, man.
the crazy thing is, I have that, and I could easily pull it off, but I won't do it
Yeah,
because one, I'm not gonna steal a spot from the team that I'm helping with, and two
right.
of my best friends play there, so I'm not gonna do that to them. And two, it's just wrong.
It's wrong. Like I 100% I'm an ADD child of the 90s, right? Like if I'm not keeping my mind busy and I'm not like, staying busy, I absolutely lose my shit, right? But that doesn't qualify me to play in the Special Olympics, to play basketball or any type of sport in the Special Olympics. You're absolutely right. It takes away from people that actually deserve to be playing, and it's just you got to be a real special kind of asshole to do something like that.
Which there are people that do, and the pitch to Robles,
Oh,
and that's fouled. Which is
good
why
lord, man.
I want to train at least half that team, put them into, because I know a couple friends that do pickup games at a basketball court. They are at the level that I'm at, so I'm going to try to get them to play like a simulation type of game, so we could withstand against the cheaters, the ringers.
Yeah.
That's my
Well,
plan for their off season.
yeah, like you gotta like especially and you like it's the type of thing where you gotta actually send emails to the organizing committee and just say, hey, listen, man, like enough's enough. Like,
Enough is
you're
enough.
this is not why this tournament was, this is not why this is around. It's to, allow
It's to
people
let
with legit disabilities to have fun and play a team sport, not to allow dudes to stack the deck.
there was
Like,
a
but by the
game
way, but by the way, what does it accomplish? Like when you stack the deck with ringers to win a tournament like that, what does that actually prove?
to cover up someone's insecurities.
There you go.
That's what it is. And now here's Julio Rodriguez and the pitch. And that's going to be swinging a foul ball in the back. So,
Ooh, Victor Robles.
yeah, Victor Robles already got out. Last season, Julio hit 273, 20 home runs, 68 RBIs. But don't let those numbers fool you, because
Yeah, because he
before that
was.
September, he was garbage. The 0-1
Yeah, dude, he was
and
garbage
striked.
for a large portion of last season.
And he did
It
a
was
good
hard,
job
like,
covering
dude.
it up in September.
Yeah, dude, it was hard watching him for the a
It
good
was
portion of the season.
painful.
I think I
And
was the
Julio,
guy that was like, like it's okay to bench Julio for a couple days as a means of accountability. Just say like, dude, this is not good enough.
yeah, and now Julio's talking a big game again. I think he did it again. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm primed for an MVP." He's like, "Dude, you said that last season."
Yeah, it's like enough with that, man. Enough with it. Show the maturity at the plate, and string together some consistency. That's the biggest part of Julio's game that is lacking. It's that plate discipline, that maturity, and the ability just to be consistent. Like this dude is getting paid as the face of the franchise, and he's anything but at this moment. And he just strikes
As
out.
he
So
he just struck out, and now we got Cal Raleigh who batted 220, 34 homers, 100 RBIs. But it was still painful to watch, no matter how much he was their most productive hitter. But it was still painful to watch. He did it in very inefficient fashion.
by the way, when's the last guy who hit 30-100 but failed to at least hit 250? Like that doesn't really happen a lot.
Chris Carter, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Chris Carter of Houston, I think he rings a bell.
I was gonna say, didn't Russell Brandon, I think he had like 30-77, but I don't know if he was. I think he might have hit 270.
I think Eugenio Suarez may have done it because he's a low
Maybe.
2 something hitter. He was for a couple seasons in Seattle, he was a 236 and a 232. Never hit 100 RBIs. So I think that's the closest we've seen.
Mm.
And 1-2,
Yeah.
and that's going to be a foul ball. It's going to be still strike 2, 1-2. But yeah, the game that if we had made the finals, which we almost did, we would have played a team that their average win differential was above 25. So there was a game I saw in like the preliminary rounds. They were beating up teams like 40-9. And the guy dunks. It's like, why? As Cal Raleigh struck out. It's like, why? And there is a division that they could play. There's the unified division where you can mix them up, which is fine. But then put them there.
Right. It's like, that gets me, dude. That gets me so fired up, man.
I was there. I don't want to say I was traumatized by it, but it's definitely in my brain still.
The whole thing, man, is for it's for the competitive spirit, right? It's to have fun and to make these some of our disabled citizens to feel normal. You know what I mean? So it's not to have the stigmatism of a disability, right? So it's like you want them to just feel normal, have fun, and play a sport. And it's like then you have these assholes that are like, no, we need to win this thing by like 40. It's like what is beating the brakes off a team by 35 points accomplish outside of like, your ego? You know what I mean? Like that's the type of behavior that gets people's ass kicked in the parking lot. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I would just be all types of fired up, man. Like I don't even like it when, like my niece and nephew are playing sports at a young age, and you have teams that are just, piling on. What does that teach what does it teach the losing side? To get beat by 10 or more. It's like you're not teaching lessons, and it stops being fun after a while.
Yeah, and overall, I'm extremely proud of my team of how they were able to pull it off. Almost, they were actually down 15, and they went on just an insane run where, I almost felt like the way that the cheering was going on, including myself, I thought it felt like there was an earthquake. That's how intense it was, and it was the most watched game out of everyone. Like people were piling in to watch it.
Yeah,
because they wanted to see us pull arguably could have been one of the biggest upsets. Uh-oh, and it goes right through for a base hit, and we got a runner on first base. And wanted to say some good news now that I've already said some kind of bad news. I'm going to spring training, and I don't need any funding. I figured it out.
See, I told you. I told you you didn't need to have the what's it called?
Didn't have to pull the Mariner Mojo, which they did.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you were able to figure that out. Hey, I got some news. I'll be in the Seattle area in late May. I'll be at T-Mobile Park on May 27th versus the Nationals. But yeah, I'll be back in the Seattle area for a few days.
May 27th.
Over the Memorial Day weekend, so yeah.
Consider me there.
Consider me there. Yeah, I'm going to be taken in the game with my ex-wife, and it should be a good time.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, either way, I'm still coming.
Yeah. Like we'll meet up. Don't worry about it. We'll meet up, and we'll say hello and shake hands and all that good stuff. But yeah, like this is I usually come back to Seattle over the Memorial Day weekend every single year to see my kids and hang out with some family and friends. And yeah, it's usually pretty good.
As we got a 1-2 count on Luis Castillo de La Piedra. He may lose that name this season. And now we're looking at the 1-2 pitch. And that is going to be swung on and a foul ball. Still going to be 1-2. Got a man on first base with nobody out.
I'm surprised like the Mariner nickname machine hasn't like dubbed him like Louie. You know what I mean? Or like Casty or Shiggy or Booney.
But those days are over. They don't really have nicknames right that doesn't even warrant it. Oh, we got a ground ball, could be double play ball, throw to second, or throw to first. Not in time. There was a force out at second. It was a good heads up play by Dylan Moore, but it wasn't quick enough to get a double play. Maybe the Mariners will try it again. No, let's go. Let's go with Winnie.
Yeah, let's go with Winnie.
And Jeff Nelson in the background going, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. You know, we already have staples like Cammy and Booney and Shiggy. Yeah, and Shiggy. Let's go with Winnie.
The pitch. I think he should have went with Winnie the Pooh or win-win situation. The Randinator. And Randy wins like, no.
The Randinator.
Unfortunately, what we've learned as Mariner fans, don't put him in center field again. The 2004 season really showed why he was not a center fielder.
Not a center fielder.
Should have just put Ichiro at center field, but he was so hung up on right field. Raleigh Bonnie's at right field, and Randy went at left field. Then maybe the Mariners could have won 2 more games for that.
Maybe.
And now it's the ground ball, throw to second, throw to first, and this time we got a double play, and that is going to retire the side.
So did you
to bottom of second?
I was going to say, did you hear that that your favorite football team, the Seattle Seahawks, re-signed their defensive lineman,
Jaron Reed, to a 3-year, $25
million deal? How do you feel about that?
Very indifferent, although it will not hurt the cap space too much. But what I want to see is few options. Either Seahawks roll the. I don't want to do I'm not into Sam Darnold. I don't think he's all that. He played with a pretty loaded offense in Minnesota, and he would eat the cap pretty much in half. So it basically be like keeping Geno Smith, even though I don't like Geno. Darnold is younger, but you better build that offensive line, or else he's going to be worth of nothing. And you better find a way to keep DK Metcalf. Now, maybe if you go for
it sounds like they're gonna get rid of DK Metcalf. It seems like that's going to end up happening, right? So the question is, are you going to get a first rounder or a second rounder for him? And it looks like the Seahawks have kind of lowered their asking price. You don't lower your asking price unless there's already team kind of already aligned to take him up. And I actually see that's the thing. It's like I'm okay with the idea of DK Metcalf. The Seahawks are nowhere near competing for a Super Bowl anyways. Like they have a lot of work to do on the offensive side of the ball. Quarterback isn't just the only area where they need to improve. And I tend to agree with you, right? When you look at some of the best teams in the league, the 2 things that they have in common are very good offensive lines and very good quarterbacks. And the Seahawks have neither.
They got nothing. And
neither a good offensive line nor they have a quarterback. So it's like, yeah, I would like to see them get the quarterback situation taken care of, but I think you're 100% right. Unless they can protect that said quarterback, it's not going to matter who's taking the snaps.
I just started to think that John Schneider doesn't really put enough care into the offensive line. He never has, and he's had opportunities to do it through drafting and getting the right guys for it.
Well, under Pete Carroll, the priority was like, your free agent money or the bulk of the money is going to be on the defensive side of the ball for what they wanted to play. And because they went to a couple Super Bowls with, I guess you can call it a bargain basement offensive line, and able to get that, to play over their heads, and they were able to do it with a cheap quarterback in Russell Wilson. That kind of was the blueprint. But as this league has evolved, and you look at the Super Bowl champions, the guys that continue to go to the Super Bowl, it turns out that having rookies having rookie contracts on your defensive side of the ball seems to be the way to go. And that money actually float to the offensive side of the ball, particularly the offensive line.
Which is why I think the options of not Russell, like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Gardner Minshew and even Justin Fields can be explored if they are looking to reload. Now, if they are looking to just tank and forget about it, which I don't think they will, then maybe just roll with Sam Howell and just get number 1 pick. The pitch to Luke Raley as me low for a ball 3-2.
Yeah, no on Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, like a guy like Gardner makes a lot of sense. He's not going to command a lot of money, and he can win you some ball games. So if you're trying to have a transition year where, you're aiming for the draft to get that quarterback in the draft, a guy like Gardner Minshew makes perfect sense on a 1-year deal. He can come in and compete, and if you need him to start, he can, and he can win ball games. It makes a lot of sense. Plus, you got the WSU connection, which would play well in Seattle.
And there are and I do have a lot of friends that, ironically, I went to UW, but I have more Cougar friends than Husky friends. Of course, you're one of them.
Because that's because we're awesome, man.
Huskies, they were very easy to burn the bridge with. Like, they made it so easy.
Oh, look at that. Look at Luke Raley.
Luke Raley with that base hit. And now we've got Donovan Solano of Columbia. And believe it or not, he actually had a little bit of...
Yeah, we don't have to wait till the 8th inning to get our first hit.
We didn't.
Wow, overachieving the Mariners.
We are so back, baby.
We are so back.
Outside for a ball. And at commercial break, I'll show some highlights of the Special Olympics basketball tournament. I have a couple videos, so look forward to that. 2-0. And we've got Solano, who had some difficulties getting here initially due to his work visa complications with Colombia, because we all know Colombia and United States have a fantastic relationship. They always have.
I think it had a lot to do with the coke that was in his suitcase.
You think so? Well,
just saying.
Not that I would know.
Donovan Solano Escobar.
Oh, poor Escobar from '94. Speak of, remember that?
Oh yeah,
'94 World Cup own goal.
Yeah, there was a lot. By the way, he ended up being killed by Escobar's people. Apparently, there was a lot of money on that. Match between the U.S. and Colombia, and the own goal
caused him to lose everything.
Which resulted in a loss, and it ended up taking that young man's life, and that's it's too bad. And by the way, the that story of that was highlighted very well in the 30 for 30, the two Escobars.
A lot of things happen in Colombia, unfortunately. 2-2. The pitch. Yeah. Now here's a liner, and that is fouled. Hate to say it, but there's a reason why the gringos are very welcomed in Colombia. The gringos are smart, of course. Got it still.
Well, because tourism has always been a very big industry in Colombia, because there's a lot of people that want to go to Medellin. There's a lot of people that want to go to Bogota, and even back in the day, there was even when it was a narco state, there was really a hands-off approach when it came to American tourists. They understood exactly what American dollars meant to their economy. So there was always it's very different in Mexico. Mexico, they don't really, in certain areas they don't really give a shit. But it was a lot different. At least they had the wherewithal to lead tourists alone down there.
We're looking at 3-2 for Solano. Check swing. Did he go? Yep, he absolutely went around, and that's strike 3. And now we've got
stolen base. Look at Luke Raley stealing bases.
Yeah, he's stealing them. He's probably our most blue collar type guy for this team, as we've got one out. And Luke Raley is
probably going to end up being. I think he's going to be team MVP this year.
Rowdy Tellez is now up to the plate. Very questionable of where he's going to end up. Some say he may not even make this team. Some say he may go to AAA. I don't know, because he's on a minor league contract.
Yeah, listen, Rowdy has to, well, first of all, his name is Rowdy. So let's kind of put that one where it needs to be. But the second thing is, it's like he has to have an unbelievable spring to put himself in contention. But even if he does make the 26, where is he going to play? How is he going to, how does he align with this 26-man roster? So is he a DH versus right-handed hitters? Maybe a first baseman every once in a while. It almost seems like he almost doesn't fit. But that being said, it's like, if he has a good spring.
Maybe it's just to incentivize Mitch Garver and Mitch Haniger to get them to play better for competition. And that's going to be popped up to right center field. And that is going to be caught by the center fielder as Luke Raley going to third base. He did go to third base. So now we got
it's a little different though. It's a little different though, because, Rowdy Tellez is a lefty swinging. So, maybe there might be some competition between those three, but that being said, it's like, I personally think that the Mitches should be just versus left-handed only.
Oh, now we've got Dylan Moore. And now here's a ground ball right to third base. This should do it. Throw to first in time, and the Mariners leave a runner on third base. This is probably exactly what we're going to expect out of this Mariners.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see that we're in midseason form here with runners in scoring position.
Absolutely. And now that we're on commercial break, here are the clips from the Special Olympics. So I just got back from the Special Olympics basketball tournament, and our team finished 4th place, and I am very proud of this team that I was heavily involved with since the start of the season through practices and helped players train during the weekdays. But one of the cool moments of the Special Olympics basketball tournament was watching former Sonics legend Detlef Schrempf kick off the games at the opening ceremony. And pretty cool seeing Detlef Schrempf being part of the Special Olympics community. I did consider doing content for my experience at the Special Olympics basketball tournament, but since this was my first time making that trip, I wanted to live the moment instead. Maybe next year I'll do some kind of content.
Look at Team Yellow. Team Yellow.
Woo! Yeah, and that layup up against one of the ringers. The guy in the blue shorts was the ringer, and I think he was also one of them that was instigating a fight. There was a fight in one of the first rounds. Like they were getting at each other. It was like, wow, we let that in the league.
Where was the opening ceremonies? Was that at Showware?
It was in the beautiful town of Wenatchee.
Wenatchee, Washington, huh?
I love Wenatchee. Like every time I go there, I feel like I'm going to borderline heaven.
Yeah, like I used to spend some time up there in Leavenworth, and Wenatchee is just literally right down the road. So, I spent many summers over there in Wenatchee at Grand Coulee. So, I'll tell you what, man, Wenatchee's all right, man. Wenatchee's all right. Oh.
They also have a pro basketball team of the basketball league. That's a thing, and Seattle has one too.
The basketball league, the TBL, the basketball league.
34 teams operating.
Wow. Is that just like a Northwest basketball league or what?
It's actually national, and they're probably, I would like to say they're probably a tier below the G League, but hey, something's happening with basketball.
I'll tell you what, man, Everett used to have like a basketball team called like the Everett Shock or the Everett something or other. And they had some former, Northwest basketball alums, like some guys that used to play for Rainier Beach, that may have had a cup of coffee in the NBA, but for the most part, they were, I wouldn't say past their prime, but, they would make their, $1,000 a month or whatever playing for the Everett team. And they were actually pretty good, man. They didn't draw anything in Everett, but they were pretty good.
And it's going to be a 2-2. I was actually at the Seattle Superhawks game of the basketball league, and
the Seattle Superhawks?
That's a thing. They play at Seattle Pacific U.
SPU, okay. I thought they would probably play down at the Showware. That would probably make a lot of sense, like the Thunderbirds. But the Seattle Superhawks, are they good?
They had a blowout game. I haven't really checked the records. I've just tapped my foot into it, but I'm looking to go to a few more games just to watch any kind of basketball in Seattle.
Let's see. Seattle Superhawks.
And while you're looking that up, Luis Castillo is going in for a third inning, which I guess they're trying to, I guess now that we're kind of in mid-season spring training form, maybe they're going to get more pitches in. And the pitch.
Seattle Superhawks.
And we haven't even talked about George Kirby, the fact that he's going to miss at least a couple weeks.
So we have, let's see if we have any names on this one. So we have Armand Davis, we have Malik Montoya, Amechi Wells, David Jenkins, Donovan Sonar.
The 1-1. And here's the pitch. And that's just missed it. And that's going to be a ball.
I've never heard of any of these guys.
Neither have I, but they had some exciting dunks.
Yeah, man.
2-1. And I got courtside seats, so there's nothing wrong with that.
I like their somewhat their logo that, it's kind of a little bit of a ripoff of your Seattle Supersonics, but with the green and gold.
2-2. And that's gonna be
they're
3-2.
They're there to fill the void, but so they play at SPU at Royal Brome Pavilion.
A lot of these teams play in like college or even high school places.
I wonder what their average attendance is. Because Royal Brome doesn't sit a lot of people.
They don't. They only had one side of the seats out.
Yeah, like maybe 5,000 people, maybe. Like it's a really small gym. Very cool for college basketball, but for something like the Seattle Superhawks. Yeah.
We're looking at
that's a dumb name for a team too, by the way. The Superhawks.
Got a fly ball to left center field and caught by Julio Rodriguez as he had a nice hustling play. And now we've got 2 outs with a man on first base.
Oh, okay. So there was also a walk there.
There was a walk. Luis Castillo had some missed calls, arguably. And I would assume that this is probably going to be his final inning.
Well, it's going to be interesting, man. Like on the high side, if everything breaks right for the Mariners this year, yeah, I could see them being a competitor for the second wild card. I mean, they have to stay healthy, but also they have to maybe overachieve. A couple of guys are going to have career years this year and carry this team in stretches. But that being said, it's like
it's too much to bank on when you're banking on that kind of stuff. And we got to throw to second base, and he is nailed. He almost didn't even touch the bag, and Cal Raleigh with a nice throw to second base. And that's going to retire the side.
Well, Julio,
we're going into the bottom of the third inning. Hey, Julio has to have a superstar year. He has to do better than his rookie year and his second year.
Yeah, Julio has to be the guy. And that means, enough of this MVP talk, man. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of listening it. Just go out and do it. You know what I mean?
Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah. But that being said, it's like, we've had this conversation before, and it's like, are they better than Houston? No. Are they better than Texas? No.
If Texas is healthy, they're screwed.
Right. And then it's like, then it's the conversation of like, are they better than the A's? And it's like,
they might be on par with them at this point.
Yeah, they're far and away better than the Angels, but the Angels just seem to handle their business. So
anything's open game in this division. And yet we have Jerry DiPoto that's willing to say, oh, yeah, we're just right in the mix. Like, no, should have been making moves to make them not just in the mix, but like make them the outlier of the division.
But where was your token off-season trade for a big player? At least the last couple of years you've had that.
They didn't do that. Their biggest move was re-signing Jorge Polanco. And
which by the way, he fully admitted that he, didn't actually take a look at. Like his scouting team was the one that set back the video, and he watched it via video. And it's like, dude.
Yeah, don't you? Right. Isn't he aware that AI is a thing, that maybe Jorge Polanco could have just AI'd himself? That could be a thing.
Or it's like, or you're just taking his word for it. How you feeling, Jorge? Oh, I'm feeling great. Best I felt in 10 years. Oh, that's great. Here's a 1-year deal.
With incentives.
And by the way, we're playing at third base. A position where you're probably weaker than at second base. And you're pretty weak at second base.
You almost want Josh Rojas back. That's how bad it is. And he was not that good either.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about
Unless the Mariners are willing to roll the dice with Ben Williamson, who is one of the rising prospects in the spring training right now. But even then, they're saying that at best he could just be another Josh Rojas with maybe a little bit more upside on the bat, but it's not saying much.
It's not saying much, man.
As we got JP Crawford up to the plate, 1-2, and they're talking to Bryce Miller right now. And strike 3 called. Just the idea that the Mariners are striking out against the team of the Colorado Rockies. Like, you're striking out against a team where their players are experimenting. The team is experimenting their pitchers as much as we are.
Yeah, we're getting done in by a guy with the last name of Feltner.
As we've got, I think this is Tyler Locklear up to the plate. And now the pitch.
Let's go, Ty.
And that is inside. That nearly got him.
Let's go, Ty.
And that's a ball 1. Bryce Miller, who had a breakout season last season, still on the talk with him.
How do you like your ties, Ty? Look at Bryce. Dude, Bryce looks, dude, I don't know.
What? And the pitch. And that
he's got
almost at the knees.
He's rocking the goofy mustache like my oldest son rocks, and then he's got the he's got the mullet in the back. He looks goofy, but I guarantee you he's pulling.
He is always goofy. And the pitch. And that is a strike. And the thing we were always fearing about, wanted to talk about the George Kirby injury, was the injury proved that the Mariners had to add depth to their offense to make up for losses in the starting rotation. And this is where it backfires. And I think, and I hate to say it, karma's a bitch.
Yeah, so there's 2 questions revolving around it. Number 1, the seriousness of the injury. He was shut down for what I think was described as shoulder tightness.
Inflammation,
shoulder inflammation. So there's that. So how serious is it? Is it just an issue of him shutting it down and letting that just inflammation go away? Or is this the token Mariner signal for he's about to have surgery? Because they said the same thing with Matt Brash and a couple other guys last year before ultimately shutting him down for surgery. So there's that. The other question is, who replaces it in the rotation?
Emerson Hancock or Logan Evans?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So from that standpoint, you also could have used another starting pitcher via free agency as well too. But you're absolutely right. So the idea is for a lack of depth, you kind of want to overload at certain positions. And let me tell you, man, Donovan Solano is not the answer.
It's not the answer. And the 2-1 pitch to cut Ty Locklear. Now here's a ground ball and an easy play to first in time. And Mariners offense continues to play uninspiring.
I expect George Kirby to be out until June.
Wouldn't surprise. And that's what I don't like about. That's what I don't like about Justin Hollander and the Mariners organization, how they handle these injuries, because they kind of borderline promised that Matt Brash was going to be back, and then it turns out he needed Tommy John, and now they're doing the same thing with George Kirby, where they're just sending mixed signals. The pitch to Robles,
and it makes you wonder if they're going to make a deal. You know what I mean? Like now that I'm sure they know the extent of the injury. And are they going to roll with a guy like Emerson Hancock or Logan Evans, or are they going to make a deal for a starting pitcher?
And no matter how good that starting pitching may be, we're still going to be disappointed that this that the bats are still not going to be there. And now here's Robles to pitch. And like, I don't think we're going to see Cole Young. We're not going to see Emerson, obviously. He's still raw talent. Montez, as exciting as he is, he still has a huge strikeout problem, which seems to be an ignored part of the conversation. When I saw him in Everett, I saw him hacking away as we got a 3-1 on Robles.
Oh, for sure, right? Like, he's not a finished product whatsoever, right? That's why his ETA is still 2029, but it's just this team has to get out to a strong start. Like that's the one thing that I've been saying for the last 3 years. It's like,
Montez is 26.
Yeah, it's like this team has no choice but to get out to a hot start. It's the only way that they can stay above the curve, playing good baseball in the month of April and not putting yourself in a position where you're digging yourself out of a hole all of May just to kind of get to the top of the division by June and, maybe things break your way. It's like if you start out hot, it alleviates a lot of problems. But, the makeup of this team, it doesn't necessarily look like they're primed to do exactly that.
And we had Cole Young batting 188. I don't think that's going to warrant him to get on the 26-man roster. Ben Williamson has now fallen to 333. I don't know if I don't think that will even warrant anything for a spot in the 26-man roster. So I think we're going to have to roll with Jorge Polanco.
By the way, batting a buck, what is it? A buck 43 in the first 2 weeks of spring training, where you're going up against guys who are in single A and double A. You know what I mean? Like, we're not even really into,
they're not really pitching their best players.
Well, it's also, this is this isn't even dress rehearsal baseball, as you're getting into the last week and a half of camp, where you're going to see more of the 26-man roster playing more regularly as they're putting the final touches on this roster as you're getting close to opening day. This is against guys who will be bagging groceries, allegedly. That's
just like what Lou Brown once said. Hey, Willie's got some pop off a guy that's gonna be bagging groceries in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, but that being said, it's like, isn't this Cole Young's first real big league camp?
He had some last year.
Very briefly.
But now he's batting at 88.
Yeah, this was the first camp where he was actually in contention for a roster spot. And it's like, when you show up to spring, you got to hit the ground running. And I'm sure he did. It's just, probably got off to a slow start. So hopefully he rebounds a little bit.
Felmin Celestine has been their best shortstop. He's batting 400, but only 2 for 5. So it's too small of a sample size. And got Ryan
There you
Bliss.
Go. How about Felmin Celestine as your second baseman?
Mm-hmm. As long as the guy just stays healthy.
2 for 5. Look at that, man.
He just has to stay healthy. And Luis Castillo is now back out in the mound again for the top of the 4th inning.
Looks like, oh, wow. Look, in the booth now is our Mariner clubhouse managers, Chris DeWitt and Joe Van Fleck.
Wonder what they've got.
They're interviewing clubhouse managers. So, like, when you're getting ready for the season, how do you guys get their cars back up to Seattle? Do you guys ship them?
Here's a fly ball to left field, and I think that's fouled. Nope, that is a double. Too bad the feed on my streaming thing is a bit blurry.
Sports.
Cole Young had to start yesterday, and he went 0 for 3, unfortunately. Ouch. Logan Gilbert pitched 1.2 innings, so it's kind of a mystery why Luis Castillo is now getting more pitches in.
Yeah, well, I think this is the point of spring where you're going to give him the extra inning, and you're going to try to stretch him out till 6-7 innings as you're getting closer to the regular season. So yeah, this it makes a lot of sense why he stayed in for the 4th. But yeah, that was a double by Tovar. That was a nice little double down the line for Tovar.
At least Castillo hasn't given up a home run yet, because that's what we were used to. He gives up that first inning, second inning home run.
But we're still in that that shade pre-fifth inning potential big inning area. So if this inning has it's still early. He very well could give up a 5 spot. It's still early.
1-1 pitch. Now here it is. Now here's a ground ball, line drive, foul. That's going to be a 1-2 count.
Michael Toglia is pretty good.
Yeah. And look at that. We got Aaron Goldsmith and Angie Mentick. Angie Mentick is now the color commentator, taking over Mike Blowers, basically. And Dave Sims is now gone.
I'm okay with Dave Sims not being in the booth because, quite honestly, great guy, but I just never liked his play-by-play. But that being said, Angie Mentick is terrible in the booth. Terrible. And it has nothing like what's funny is like when you say that, a lot of these fans are like, "Oh, you're just saying that because she's a woman." It's like, no, I don't care. Like if you're entertaining and you're very good at the color commentator, and you actually have something to say, you're a good color commentator. She's just not good. You know what I mean? Her timing is not like she needs to like. Here's what would be great is if they sent her down to AA Arkansas and let her work her way up. You know what I mean? Just like a ball player, right? Have like a year in AA and work on your craft, and then maybe join Mike Curto in Tacoma, for a half a season before come up to the big leagues. It's like she's just not good in the booth, man.
I don't think she was even good at. She was barely anything.
She was good in the pre and post game, like doing the pregame reports. Like that's fine, but like there's a reason why former ball players generally have that role because they actually can break down a baseball game.
Also, she might be cheaper than what the other ones could have been, because that's
Possibly.
how much. That's
but
the
Mike
weakness
Flowers,
of what Root Sports has.
But Mike Flowers was a hell of a color commentator. I even liked it when they actually had Dan Wilson up there a little bit. Dan Wilson was pretty good too.
Now he's manager.
Yeah, from the broadcast booth to the clubhouse.
1-2.
Reminds me a little bit of Wally Walker.
Left field. Oh, Wally Walker.
Remember, like people forget that Wally Walker, like in the early '90s, was a part of the Sonic with Kevin Calabro. He was a play-by-play guy for Sonic's basketball. Before Marcus Johnson, and all of a sudden he becomes Sonic general manager.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Why mess with that? Why? Just why?
Because he married Barry Ackerley's daughter.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
As we're looking at a 2-2. And the pitch. And that's going to be outside 3-2. And Wally Walker wasn't exactly the best communicator of anything. Like, he didn't even tell George Karl that they were doing that Sean Kemp trade for Vin Baker. Didn't even tell him that.
What's funny is, like, so apparently the problem Wally Walker had with George Karl was that he said that George couldn't keep his mouth shut, right? It's like, okay, but that's still your head coach, though. Like, you kind of want to let your head coach know that you're about to trade his best player, one of his best players away. You know what I mean? Like, you can be mad, and yeah, I'm sure George Karl was furious. But that being said, like, you have to be like on a very good speaking terms with your head coach. I would think that would be like one of the things that, among other things that you have to be good at as a general manager, is understanding like the strengths of your coach and understanding how to build a team towards the strengths of your coach and being able to relay that message to your head coach. That was still a bad trade.
I remember when it was game 1 between the Seattle Mariners and Baltimore Orioles in a division series of 97. Jim Gray actually asked George Karl about hey, are you excited for Vin Baker? And George Karl's like, yeah, well, and that's a base hit, and that's going to score on a run as Colorado now gets on the board. So George Karl was like, first off, I want to say thank you, Sean, for your time and your services. Basically, he was saying, I miss Sean Kemp.
Yeah.
He didn't want Vin Baker.
Now, credit to Vin Baker, because like the first year in Seattle, he was playing at an all-star level. So, credit to Vin Baker. At least he softened the blow initially. But Vin, had issues, man. He was dealing with alcoholism in a very bad way, and it ended up ultimately costing him his career. But initially it wasn't as bad as it got. That's what
Some thought the Sonics were going to be better because of
Yeah.
it. As Luis Castillo just got pulled, and rightfully so, and he did pitch pretty well.
Like the games were different, right? Because Sean was true to term, was a power forward. His game was relied on power. Vin Baker was more of that was
Finesse.
more of that finesse, that little silky touch around the basket. And he had a nice little turnaround jumper, but that's the thing, is he didn't drive the paint like Sean. You know what I mean? Like, that was not his game. But yeah.
Vin was a softie, but it is good that he is now living a sober lifestyle. He has turned his life around, so good for Vin Baker.
I'm happy to hear that for Vin. Yeah.
Sean Kemp's at least running. He's at least running a business.
I like Sean, man. Sean's a great guy. I've talked to Sean on many occasions in the previous 5 years, and I like the fact that he's trying to be an entrepreneur. I'll give him that. He's trying. Some things have worked, and
he had that nice little restaurant.
In order to be successful, you do have to deal with some failure, and that's the restaurant, Oscar's Kitchen in Lower Queen Anne, probably not the best location for a restaurant. Probably, you probably would have been better off with the location on the east side. But you live and you learn, and now he's got the weed shop, and the weed shop, I hear, is doing quite well. So
it's good to see our two former power forwards getting their life back together.
Who's the other? Oh yeah, Vin Baker.
Detlef Schrempf does a lot of philanthropy kind of work.
I heard that Michael Cage used to smoke big crack back in the day. Like when he was a Sonic, I heard Michael Cage used to be a crackhead.
Could see that.
I don't know if it was true or not, but that just makes me chuckle. I don't know why it makes me chuckle, but
Sam Perkins was all about that weed too.
Yeah, he was about that lifestyle. That's why they called him Big Smooth.
It wasn't because of his smooth jumper whatsoever.
No, it wasn't. That dude looked blitzed every single time he took the court, man. That's funny. He came on the court, just droop eyed, and then he would just ball out of control.
About to take that shot.
And he would ball out of control. I remember when we got him from the Lakers in that trade, and 93. And
93.
And it just changed the entire complexity of the team. And it was just like, oh, we have essentially a 7-footer that can shoot threes. He could play inside and out, and he was a dude that just couldn't be guarded.
He at least gave the 91 Bulls trouble in the Game 1 NBA Finals.
Yeah, Sam Perkins was actually a very good player, man. When you look at some of those drafts that the Lakers had in the 80s, man.
We got 1 and 2, and now the pitch.
Sam Perkins was real.
And line drive foul.
I thought Nick Collison could possibly develop into something like that. Nick Collison had a good game too. He just never developed to that high level.
But he was a guy that he was very useful. Just the numbers just didn't show it. But he did all the other things that just couldn't be measured. Like he set screens effectively.
Yeah, that's why I like Nick, because he did the dirty work, right? And I just thought that Nick, if he just developed that, who's Sean Burgos or Juan Burgos?
Juan Burgos of Everett, and Root Sports got it wrong. They said Everett A when it's Everett A+. See, another reason why Root Sports is losing its credibility.
Yeah, I just thought if Nick developed that mid-range jumper, he would be deadly, and he just never did.
And now here's a fly ball to center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. We got a play going to third base. Throw to third, and he is out of there. Great play by Julio Rodriguez, and now we got 2 outs.
Woo!
Julio Rodriguez showing some of that swagger.
My guy, though, was Steve Scheffler. That was my guy. Coolest dude ever. And fan favorite, the super chef.
He had a jumper.
all-time leading rebounder in the Big Ten from mighty Purdue. And I remember in Game 3 of the 90s, Game 3 or 4 of the 96 finals, the Sonics were up big, and the crowd was singing, "Bring in Chef, bring in Chef." It was, they kept Chef. And George Karl brought in Scheffler. Yeah, the whole place went nuts.
He almost made a shot, and the crowd was about to explode.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, like when Chef got drafted, he actually, obviously he played a lot more being a draft pick, but there was a time there where Chef was kind of looking like he, might be a part of like a legit part of that rotation, but never materialized. I wonder what Chef is doing these days, man.
Maybe I have a good chance of finding him on a show and more.
Yeah. By the way, if you get Steve Scheffler on a show, I want to be a part of that one.
Oh, you're in for that.
Yeah, because I got a zillion questions to ask him. I actually
the funny thing is, I know more people in basketball community, and I don't put much work into Sonics content for YouTube than I do with the Mariners, and I put almost everything on the Mariners, but all I've got is you and Jay Trident as like my true collaborators. Nothing to knock. It's just weird how that works.
Yeah, but I'll say this though, right? But still though, as a Seattle sports podcast, right? Because you're not just a Mariner. You are. I mean, you don't get me wrong. Like you are like 90% Mariners, but you are a Seattle sports podcast, and so it is cool. It is kind of cool to reminisce a little bit about the Seattle Supersonics, and to get former Sonics on, like you got Jeff Passero on, which was awesome. But that would be something special if you got like
Steve Scheffler,
or even getting Detlef on. That would be pretty cool as well too.
Yeah, I gave him a high five. I didn't ask for his picture because I saw everyone else was doing it, and I think after like the 10th time, he was like, "Okay, I'm done."
No, I just think, I've never been a big picture guy myself, right? It's like I don't go gaga for.
And I'm a YouTuber and an Instagrammer, and I still didn't do it. Yeah, and he was at that Special Olympics tournament, and I still didn't really bother him. I was like, "Oh, it's Detlef." I gave him a fist bump.
Yeah, like that's the time to do it too, because that's he's there for a reason, right? So that would be the time to do it. But I've never gone gaga for athletes, right? Because they're just, at the end of the day, they're just dudes that do one thing incredibly well, but at the end of the day, it's like, I met you, that was cool, and I was happy to meet you, but I don't need to take a picture to put on the gram as a receipt of me meeting you. It's just not my thing.
As Julio Rodriguez, he just hit a ground out, which I think he should have legged out, but I guess he's in spring training form. But doesn't matter, because even in regular season form, he's still not legging those out.
I'm still butthurt over Ray Allen. That Ray Allen experience ruined it for me forever.
What, when he was on the team, or
trade? When he was no, he was on the team, and I met him at KGR Studios, and he was a complete asshole.
I mean, he did elbow a guy in the balls when he was with the Celtics, so.
Yeah.
Anderson Barishow.
He was probably like the greatest shooter in Sonics history. Like, that's not a stretch to say that. And I ran into him at KGR Studios, and I just said, "Hey, man, big fan." And he's just kind of like, whatever. I was like, "Man, I don't want your autograph or anything like that. I just, I'm kind of a big fan, and you're a hell of a player." And he was just like, whatever. I was like, it's like, fuck you too, pal. And that was it. I just was like, dude, that's like, there's no need to treat fans in that type of manner. Like, I don't care if you were in a movie with Denzel. I don't care. You know what I mean? That's cool, but whatever. I'm sure you weren't happy coming to Seattle, but it is what it is, right? So, be grateful that you have fans. I can excuse Junior in 2009. When I met Junior in 2009, it was pregame. He was kind of busy, and I understand. He's just trying to get his pregame things out of the way, and probably didn't want to get distracted. And when I met Junior again, he was awesome. So,
as we got a 2-2 on Cal Raleigh. So
it was Senior who was awesome. Ken Griffey Senior was awesome.
2-2.
And Jay Buhner's awesome too. All those dudes are awesome.
Who have I connected with? I've only connected with Facero. I scared Edgar away. I think I told you that story where I scared him away.
How did you scare?
So I used to, as a former employee at Best Buy back in 2018, as we are waiting for a 3-2 pitch on Cal Raleigh, the pitch, and that is going to be ball 4, take your base, and Cal Raleigh gets
I would have
base.
asked him, if I worked at Best Buy, I would have been like, do you want to see our collection of light bats?
That's more of a Home Depot thing.
Yeah, but it's funny because of the light bat.
Oh, if we had the light bulbs, and I should have done that. Oh man,
yeah,
I should have done that. But what did I do? I was like, "Are you Edgar Martinez?" Yes. You're like my childhood hero. Okay, he just leaves smoothly. Yeah. Like you couldn't even tell he was leaving.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh my god, you're crazy."
Kyle Seeger, I was like, "Hey, how's it going, sir?" Great. And he just runs to the bathroom.
Kyle's great, man. I've had many conversations with Kyle. One of the coolest dudes ever, man. Just a good old
Felix
North Carolina
was fun
boy.
to talk to.
Good old North Carolina boy, and he's awesome, man. And we sat there and talked. We sat there one time and talked an hour about barbecue. It was great.
I sold D Gordon a PS4 and MLB The Show with Ken Griffey Jr. on it, and I made a joke saying, "Hey, D, this is basically the same game as last year." Yeah, I know, but it has Griffey on it.
It has Griffey on it. Yeah.
And then a couple months later, gets into a fight. D Strange. Oh, and Cal Raleigh tried to steal second. And he got out.
Yeah, Cal. I wonder if that was supposed to be a hit and run that.
I think that's what they were going for, yeah.
Yeah,
Mariners can't. Yeah, Mariners are the last team that you should trust to hit and run. And he almost made it, too.
I've met Matt Hasselbeck, pretty cool guy. Matt's a pretty cool guy. Russell, I met Russell Coon. I've met Russell Wilson. He was interesting to say the least. The coolest Seahawk that I met was what's his bucket that married Lisa Patrick Kearney, right? And I didn't know that she was dating Patrick Kearney at the time, and I was at the Marcus Trufant bowling, the charity bowling event that was always at Acme Bowl, and I went up to the bar, and Lisa Gangle at the time, she was Lisa Gangle, not Lisa Kearney, and I said, I kind of sidled right up to her, and I was trying to play it smooth because Lisa Gangle was hot back in the day, and so I tried making the move. I had no idea she was actually dating Patrick Kearney. And so I kind of was like, "Can I get you a drink?" And she was like, "No, I'm good." And I was like, "Where do I know you from?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm on TV." I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Where would I see you? Like, you look familiar." She's like, "Oh, I'm on, King 5, whatever the case may be." And then midway through it, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And she's like, "Well, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm a chef and all that good stuff." She's like, "Oh, that's cool. Where do you work at?" I told her I was working at the time. She's like, "Oh, yeah, it's a great place." And then Patrick Kearney comes right to the other side, and he's like, "What's up, bro?" And I was like, "Oh, Patrick Kearney." He's like, "Yeah, what's going on, man?" And I thought he I didn't know they were dating. And he puts his arm around her. I was like, gotcha.
3-2 as.
But he was cool though.
Luke Rayleigh just walked.
He was cool though. I bought him a beer as an apology, and he was like, "That's cool." And we sitting there talking for a little bit. He's actually a pretty cool guy. And I apologized. I was like, I did not know.
Patrick Kearney, Seahawks of 2007 through 2008, I think, as he was a defensive end.
Yeah, he was. Did not know.
Trying to think who else I met. I met Russell for like a split second, but of course I had no composure for that one.
Yeah, Russell is a different dude when a camera is not on him.
I met Lawyer Malloy. He was cool.
Lawyer Malloy is a really good dude. Actually, Marcus Trufant's a pretty cool guy too, man. He's like, I'll give him, like, it is what it is, right? I didn't appreciate him wearing the purple W, but his brother went to UW, and so you would see him at Husky Stadium wearing the purple W, and it's like, come on, Marcus, what are you doing, bro? Like, that's not cool.
No.
He was like, "Listen, man, I understand the rivalry, but," I was like, "It's still not cool, though. Like, you just don't do that, man." I was like, I understand loyalty. I get it. Your brother's a Husky. I get it. But that being said, you even still, you still rock the crimson and gold, crimson gray. You don't rock the purple W. But
That was Desmond Trufant.
Yep, his brother. Yeah.
No, he should have wore. No, he should have wore all red to spice it up.
I think his brother Desmond played for the Falcons for a little bit.
He did. He was a long timer.
Mm-hmm.
As we got an 0-2 for Donovan Solano. Wow, 0-2 is very typical.
I think what's his bucket's a Falcon now? Michael Penix.
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix.
I don't blame you. I knew
we'll see how that plays out.
I had the idea that national championship Huskies team, I think they played above their heads that season and they got a little bit lucky.
Well, they were also beating up on a very down Pac-12. That wasn't the strongest version of the
That's
Pac-12.
the problem I had with it. And everyone's like, "What are you talking about? You're not a true Husky." It's like, yeah, I'm a former Husky. I don't give a shit.
That was, in all honesty, that was not a good version of the Pac-12 last year.
And I
Pac-12.
think it was also partially the reason why the Huskies jumped the gun prematurely. Like, oh yeah, we can handle the Big Ten. Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I
still think that what made Michael Penix was Roma Dunze. That's it. Roma Dunze was a special talent, and when you have those type of targets, it makes your job easier. You take Roma Dunze off those Husky teams. I don't think they're that good. They're still good. I don't think they're that good.
What I really didn't like what the Huskies did was how is it like, why did the Apple Cup play in a neutral stadium, which was more like Huskies' advantage, rather than Martin Stadium? Because I think that was their time. They were supposed to be at Martin Stadium for that.
Yeah. Well, so yeah. I think they had that 3-year agreement. I think it was after the post brouhaha when the University of Washington essentially broke up the Pac-12, and they were wondering whether or not that the scheme was going to continue, and so they had that agreement. But yeah, the Apple Cup should be alternate year at each other's fields, and yeah, it should be played in Pullman, 100%.
Should have been. I wouldn't mind doing a trip like that in the future. I really wouldn't. And we are back on commercial break. Let's play these little bit of ads. If I have it, which I do. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code RoofTopSports to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. If you're in spring training, if you're in Arizona, use that promo code to get your $20 off, because somebody, maybe my friend McLovin, who's on the, yes, he nicknamed himself McLovin on my Special Olympics basketball team. He's in Arizona right now, so I expect him to use that promo code.
McLovin?
He literally nicknamed himself McLovin. And he looks like McLovin too.
By the way, that was such an awesome fake ID. His name, it was just McLovin. McLovin. I think that's his team name on my fantasy basketball league.
I gotta check and see if it is. He's also in my baseball league too.
McLovin. It sounds like a sexy sandwich.
His play style is like, he reminds me of Tony Kukoc. He's got that left-hander. He's kind of like got that Euro step style. He's like a Tony Kukoc kind of guy. And the guy that you saw back that made that huge layup. Yeah, he's a poor man's Tony Kukoc. I think he's a poor man's Tony Kukoc. And the guy who you saw in the video that made the layup over the ringer, he reminds me of, his play style reminds me of Charles Barkley. Mm. And the guy who threw up the three-pointer, number 10, his play style is Stephen Curry. So we have cool players that we watch.
Yeah.
Now here is Rowdy Tellez.
I'm a big fan of Pullman, Washington. Great town. Love it.
It's going to be up high for a ball. Has the schedule released yet? Or it hasn't?
You should do a show from out there in Pullman, Washington.
Not that I will do much college football, but maybe I'll make a video going like, I went to Pullman. I went to the Apple Cup.
Rowdy Tellez, huh? Can't believe it. I wonder if that's his nickname. I don't know. Is that his real name, Rowdy?
They're going to be at Martin Stadium this time. I'll consider it.
Let's see.
And strike one to Rowdy Tellez. The thing is, the crazy thing about Rowdy Tellez, one of the reasons why I think he may not pan out is Cooper Hummel raked through spring training. And then as soon as he got onto the baseball diamond of Major League Baseball.
All right, so let's see. All right, so... Oh, I'm sorry. Say that again? I'm sorry, bud.
Oh, what I was saying is the thing about Rowdy Tellez, it may not even work out with the production that he's got, because don't forget, Cooper Hummel batted well in spring training. And what happened at Major League level?
Yeah, right. As soon as
here's
the season started,
yeah, he was over. As we got a fly ball to left field, and he makes the catch, and that's going to retire the side as the Mariners fail to score once again with runners in scoring position.
By the way, your 2025 Washington State Cougars will kick off on August the 30th against the Idaho Vandals. And then they'll get San Diego State. And then they'll travel to North Texas to face the vaunted Mean Green. Then they have the Apple Cup. And then they travel to Colorado State. And then they'll get Ole Miss. Wow. They get Ole Miss this year.
Jackson Dart played there.
Then on October 18th, they got the Virginia Cavaliers. Then they have the Toledo Bombers at home on October 25th, followed by Oregon State in Corvallis. Then Washington State hosts La Tech. Then they on November 22nd they face the vaunted James Madison. And then November 29th, it looks like they'll get Oregon State again. So they face Oregon State. They face Oregon State twice.
They better be undefeated. They better be undefeated with that schedule.
So it looks. So let me say this, right? So we should beat Idaho handedly. Probably should beat San Diego State and North Texas. So they'll be 3-0 heading into the Apple Cup. I don't think Washington will be good this year. That's probably going to be a good game right there. I think they beat Colorado State. That when they travel to Mississippi to face Ole Miss, that's also could be a good game. Virginia's probably not going to be good. They should be able to beat Virginia. They should be able to beat Toledo and Oregon State and La Tech and James Madison before going into that second match. Like Washington State probably should be a 10-win team this year.
I hope for success.
Because
as someone that went to the Huskies, went to UW, I hated it. I hated almost all of it. Didn't like the people. Just couldn't vibe with them at all. It was basically no different than going to high school. I sometimes wish I went to Wazoo.
And it looks like Washington State will have a new head coach this year. It looks like it'll be Jimmy Rogers.
Jimmy Rogers, huh?
Has been, yeah. Let's see. He's
Andres Munoz up to the mound. He is known to have a really weird disparity between his road games and his home games. Home games, he's nearly unstoppable. On the road, don't even make him a closer.
So he spent the last 12 years at South Dakota State University, and the past 2 as head coach. He guided San Diego, South Dakota State University to a 27-3 record and led the Jackrabbits to the 2023 FCS championship and reached the FCS semifinals last year. So there you go. Yeah, wow, look at that, man. They also won the Missouri Valley Football Conference. So there you go, man. Jimmy Rogers.
And very shocking to see that none of these players of the Mariners have gotten any replacements in there. I think looks like they're still staying with their starters for quite a bit. I would hope after this inning they're going to start rolling in some of the subs.
Right. It looks like they got Munoz in right now. Here in the fifth,
so might as well start getting let's get some Harry Fords in there. Let's get Cole Young. Let's get Cole Emerson, Melanie Celestine.
It's time to get out. It's time to get Cal Raleigh out. JP Crawford. Yeah, 100%. I'm with you.
Yeah, get these guys.
I want to see these kids, man. I want to see them.
Yeah, we all want to see these kids.
The 2025 Seattle Mariners. Let's see these kids.
That should be their slogan.
Hey now, let's see these kids.
2025 Mariners baseball. Let the kids play.
2025 Seattle Mariners, true to the youth.
2025 Mariners. Well, I would say CS Rise, but that's already been patented.
2025 Seattle Mariners. See these kids. Oh, see us grow. See us grow.
We're still marketing that.
Yeah.
Oh, but don't let them play either.
Yeah.
And strike 3 call, down he goes. As Andres Munoz gets the second out of this inning.
The 2025 Seattle Mariners, third place or bust.
2025 Mariners, mid-season form and spring training. We are so back.
Yeah. We're back, baby. Good Lord.
You know what's the word? You know what's the most? You know what's the slogan that really aged like milk within like an instant? As we got a pitch to Amador, he fouls it off. 2008 Mariners. Before the season started, off of 2007, 88, and 74. Mariners baseball. The mojo's rising.
The mojo is rising.
2010, believe big. What happened?
What was the Soto Mojo?
Soto Mojo, I think, was the best one.
Isn't Mojo like short for magic or something like that? Or
yeah. There was You Gotta Love These Guys, Ain't Baseball Great, Soto Mojo, Viva La Mojo, Mariners Baseball, Hey Now, Get All of It, Mariners Baseball, What a Show, Mariners Baseball, My Oh My. Mariners Baseball, the mojo's rising. Oh, 2009, when they finally openly admitted that it's like a new kind of era. Mariners Baseball, a new day, a new way. 2010,
the 2025 Seattle Mariners. It could be worse.
2010, believe big. Oh, and 2011 the time. 2011, the timing was really depressing because this was after the Mariners lost 101 games and Dave Niehaus passed. So this is their slogan: Mariners baseball, ready to play.
Ready to play.
And then it was Get After It, True to the Blue, then See Us Rise.
See, I was okay with True to the Blue.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but See Us Rise was dumb.
I didn't like See Us Rise.
Yeah, that was kind of.
I thought it was a cute slogan for like a fan to make. Like if a fan made it, yeah, it's a cute slogan. But when the marketing team comes up with that, are you kidding me?
Yeah, see, and I think I might have mentioned, like, bad teams have these type of marketing slogans because they kind of have to have them. Like winning teams that just win, they don't need slogans because they just win. So, refuse to lose.
As the side has retired.
That's a good slogan right there. The side has retired.
Yeah, pretty much.
The 2025 Seattle Mariners again get caught again, leaving runners in scoring position.
Mariners baseball.
300 strikeouts. The Electric Company. I think that's what they call. I think that's what they call.
Oh, Mariners baseball, doing the fans a favor. Mariners baseball,
54%. Yeah, 54% of the time, all the time. Yeah, like back in the day, man. We're talking like way back in the day. It was like, I believe in baseball over the wall.
And we are still on commercial break. Going into the top or bottom of the 5th inning. I think the hitter is, I think it's Dylan Moore, but they should be subbing players out. Like, let Polanco play at least. Just let anyone play but Dylan Moore.
I wonder how those Kraken are doing.
Opening day, I can't wait for.
So the Kraken are currently in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th place in the Pacific Division on 58 points. They have
they blew it up.
And they have a negative 18 goal differential. Yikes. 27, 33, and 4.
You speaking of hockey made me think of the 1980 Miracle team, and the biggest component of, other than Herb Brooks running that team to success, was he also didn't let the committee or the board meddle in with his hockey. He somehow found a way to let him do his job, and it seems to say that after that, the Olympic Committee wanted their power back. So now they run it just like anyone else would. That's why they haven't exactly been successful since.
Yeah. The worst thing I think could have happened was, the Kraken making the playoffs in their second year. When you have that early success, it sets expectations, unreal expectations. And, I think Home Dude was saying that it was, the expansion Kraken were going to take at least 5 years to kind of get those consistent results.
And now they're blowing it up again and at least the only positive thing they have going for them is they have first round picks. And now here's a fly ball popped up or to deep left field and can be fielded by the left fielder as he makes the catch, and it's gonna be 1 out, and that should be Dylan Moore's final at bat.
All right, so then they have the wild cards. All right.
And now you got JP Crawford up to the plate, and you would assume that this is also his final at bat of the game. At least go out with a bang, JP.
There. And then you have Yeah, right now the Kraken are sitting at 58 points, and they're 12 points off the second wild card. Okay, so they're dead and buried. Okay, that's interesting to know. What sucks is when I moved to Michigan in 2021, it was the year before the Kraken launched, so I missed the entire inaugural season of the Kraken. And I remember I went to Little Caesars Arena to watch them play the Red Wings that year. They looked like an expansion team, and that was a pretty fun, entertaining game.
Fly ball to deep right field, and that is gone. JP Crawford puts the Mariners on the board to tie this game at 1-1, and that was just absolutely just blasted all the way out in right field.
Off of Agnos, huh?
Huge home run.
Wow, that ties the game here in the 5th inning. So, wow, 1-1. Let's see this dinger, JP. Let's see what pitch you got.
It kind of had a little bit of a drop.
Yeah, it was looks like it was a change that hung out over the plate, and JP got it all. There you go.
Boom.
The sun-soaked berm out there in right field.
As we got a play to third base, and that's going to be 2 outs as Ty Locklear is not able to do much. And I think based on his performance so far, I think he may just end up starting in AAA this season. I don't think he's making a major league roster.
You never know. You never know. Like he can go on a tear in the last 2 weeks of spring training, but yeah, I probably would agree with you. He probably starts off at AAA.
Victor Robles is now up to the plate.
But you also wonder if they'll put him in AA though, right? Mariners, the Mariners prioritize AA over AAA, right? So
You think
Yeah,
he
but
would go 2 steps down?
well, the Mariners
He was in
don't
AAA
really.
last season.
Okay, well, the Mariners rarely, like for their top prospects, they rarely send them to AAA to come. They usually come straight from AA.
The
So
last prominent AAA prospect the Mariners had was Jared Kelenic, but that was because of a freak year. It was like the COVID years.
right, he was a part of the taxi squad.
Now here's a ground ball, and that's to be fielded. And no, that's going to be no play. It's going to be an infield base hit for Victor Robles, and now that's going to bring up Julio Rodriguez. But I wonder if he's going to get pinch hit. He's now 1 for 3, so maybe they're all going to get third at bats.
Jonathan Shancup says his prediction is that Victor Robles leads the AL in stolen bases in 2025. That's a bold. That really is kind of
bold prediction. The more bold prediction, more bold than that, is he has a healthy season.
It's going to be interesting to see if he leads the team. I don't even know if he leads the team in stolen bases, but you never know.
More of a Julio thing, and that's going to be outside for a ball for Julio Rodriguez, and he does have a chance to do some damage. Let's see if he can do it.
I don't even know if Victor Robles finishes the season as a starter.
Yeah, it could just all be hype.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all based on small sample size.
Yeah, that's cool.
But we're talking about 2025.
But I don't like. That's the thing is, I could care less what they did last year. It's not going to be. It's not even an indicator of what's going to happen this year. We have seen time and time again.
Now they throw to second base
that have very good seasons and following up with very
Victor Robles with a stolen base. So maybe Jonathan may be onto something by that stolen base by Victor Robles here in spring training, baby.
Let's see. Julio
needs to become the Coolio.
Coming wrong and right on a fantastic voyage.
Look at the 2-1 for Julio Rodriguez. Can he make it happen?
He can't be a Coolio, man.
And the pitch.
He doesn't.
Now here's a fly ball to deep, not so deep. It's going to be shallow, and that he will make the catch, and that's going to retire the side. It was a sliding effort by the right fielder, and Julio leaves a man on base as we go to the top of the 6th inning.
He can't be Coolio, man. In order to be Coolio, you have to spend that time in that gangster's paradise, man. And he's not about that life.
And he's got to perform more actions than words, because he is a definition where he is all about words and no action. With all the talent that he has in the world.
I just want to see that breakout season from Julio.
Yeah, so where he's creeping the 40 home runs, 40 stolen bases. Like that's what we want.
From start to finish, where there's no lag, where he's just consistent throughout. That's kind of what I want to see. Like right now, he's kind of been like a second half merchant, which is great because he's kind of gets hot, right? You know, at least the first 2 seasons. Last year, not so much, but those first 2 seasons, he was very much a second half merchant, which is when the Mariners, kind of needed it the most. But you also need him in the first half of the season when they're struggling to stay at 500.
That's the sad thing is they may start that season even struggling to just be 500 at that point, just like they did last season when they started.
Can I be honest with you? I kind of want the Mariners to tank in April just so Jerry Dipoto gets fired. Just so Jerry Dipoto gets fired. Like I don't wish it upon.
But does that include Justin Hollander?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It has to.
It has to. And I don't wish anybody to lose their livelihood, but that dude's had a decade in Seattle with one playoff appearance and a million excuses, and now it's to the point where the fan base has pretty much turned on him.
Oh,
and I understand that. And
we're back from the break, and they're showing wiffle ball in Peoria for the kids to play.
I understand that. John Stanton is probably more of a villain, but Jerry Dipoto is not doing himself any favors.
He's not. I mean, we all agree John Stanton is a horrible owner, but Jerry Dipoto doesn't do anything better and always makes those excuses.
Not as bad as Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher it could be worse. We could have not Jeff Fisher, but Oakland's owner.
Homeless, the homeless A's.
Yeah, it could be worse. It could be very worse. But I'll say this, that Jerry Dipoto is. Yeah, I would love to see the Mariners absolutely tank April, just so we get some new blood in this front office.
But the concern is, will John Stanton actually hire someone that's actually any good?
That's why you got to reach out to Theo Epstein, man. That's why you got to reach out and just back up the Brinks truck and just let him do his thing.
Does he even know who that even is at this point?
I would assume he does.
I don't think
what would be interesting though is that who's very tight with John Stanton?
Alex Rodriguez
and
Ken Griffey Jr.
There you go. Wouldn't that be something if the Mariners fired Jerry Dipoto and installed either A-Rod or Ken Griffey Jr. in the front office?
Ken Griffey can just be a daddy. Just let him be a dad.
That seems like
Ken
a very
Jr. doesn't even really.
That seems like a very Mariner thing to do, right? Replace him with a former player that has no front office experience, but he's also a big name. He's a name.
Yeah, let's hire a guy when Linda Cohn asked him, "Hey, Junior, who do you think is the best player right now?" McCutchen.
When
was
that?
Who do you look? 2014, the most awkward interview, and Linda Cohn tried everything she could to spark anything out of Griffey. So Griffey, who do you look up to most? My dad.
Who's the best player right now? My son.
Who's the best player in the league right now? McCutchen. And the pitch.
That's funny.
And that's going to be strike one. Colin Snyder's up on the mound. He was one of the rising stars from last year. Griffey too busy doing Geico commercials? Yeah, let him. Let him do a Geico commercial.
Dude,
let him stay there.
That was like 2010 to 2014. That was prime Linda Cohn. Yeah.
And now what happened to ESPN after that?
Yeah, I would have smashed. 100% I would have smashed. Anyway.
Linda Cohn actually worked in local Seattle media before ESPN.
I know.
She was covering the Jeff Somalian ownership purchase.
Christian Griffey's too busy doing Geico commercials.
And Griffey did.
If Shaq can be in every single commercial on TV, so can Junior. Leave Junior alone. Leave him alone.
And Shaq is also too busy owning his pizza places. We got a fly ball to deep left field, and that's gonna be caught by Luke Raley.
Pizza place?
He owns like tons of pizza franchises and much. He owns a lot of Domino's and Papa John's.
Oh, okay. That tracks though.
He's a businessman.
Man. I'm fully under the impression that he owns Icy Hot. And the general car insurance. And Carnival Cruise Lines.
I heard Carnival Cruise has had a bad reputation for years.
I've never I will never go on a cruise ship. Ever.
Why? And don't say Titanic.
No. It has nothing to do with that. To be locked on a ship in the middle of the ocean with tens of thousands of people in a small confined area where you're like breathing recycled air and eating nasty shit food. Now I'm out.
You wouldn't do it.
I would 100% go to the Caribbean, but I would never do it on a cruise ship. No.
I still do, and I want to have like my Fabrizio kind of friend, like Jack Dawson from Titanic. I want to have that kind of duo, but I will not go for someone's wife.
Fabrizio from Titanic.
He should have lived. He should have lived.
By the way, that was the biggest. I think that was So yeah, that was the biggest. That's one of the biggest movie villains. Rose from Titanic was one of the biggest movie
She
villains
is.
ever.
They kept saying it was Cal, but I was like, no, it was
No,
Rose.
no, no. It was Rose. Think about this, right? So she cheats on her boyfriend with some random dude, and 80 years in the future, she throws away a priceless diamond while she still thinks about the dude, the one night stand from 80 years prior.
And when she
cheats, like, dude,
died,
she cheats. She cheats, man. She's a cheater.
she cheated on Cal and Mr. Calvert.
Dude, I'm just saying, man. She gets dicked down by Leonardo DiCaprio, and then 80 years later, she doesn't think about her. She doesn't think about her family. Doesn't think about her grandkids or her daughter. She's thinking about the time that she got dicked down on the Titanic. Meanwhile, all these guys are looking for the jewel of the sea, and she's got it, and she just lets it go.
She doesn't give.
She doesn't like hand it off as a family heirloom to her daughter. Like, this is probably worth, like, I don't know, $20 billion. Why don't you take care of the family for the rest of your generations with this little piece of jewelry right here? No. She throws it into the water. I visited the real Jack Dawson grave in Nova Scotia. Really? There's a real Jack Dawson?
I guess it was someone similar to a Jack Dawson.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I couldn't really blame Jack. It was all on Rose.
Yeah, but Jack was a player, though. Jack was a player. He was doing what he was supposed to do.
But his best friend Fabrizio should have not died. No.
Yeah.
And he was so close. He almost got on the boat.
Let me tell you, the biggest movie villain in movie history was Jenny from Forrest Gump.
I knew you were going to say that.
Jenny from Forrest Gump was the biggest villain in movie history.
Poor Forrest. And then as soon as he got loaded, then Jenny's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, it's like, dude, she takes advantage of Forrest for years, and then only when she contracts AIDS does she come back to Forrest, and then he's like, yeah, here's my kid. Here's your kid.
I don't even know if that was his kid.
And it's like, dude, don't get me started on Jenny from Forrest Gump.
Jenny made Rose look like an angel.
I'm going to Vietnam now. Just go run, Forrest. Like, no, don't be brave. Don't be a hero. And of course he was, because that's the way Forrest was. But her advice was run away. Excuse me? Like, yeah, like I'm going to do what you're going to do and end up like a cokehead in Los Angeles. Come on now.
And Cal Raleigh is on a 1 and 2. There's a lot of Jennys out there, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a ton of Jennys out there.
Number of them are increasing by the masses.
Yeah,
which is why
the key thing is appreciate your single life and don't simp for these Jennys out there.
Which is why we have men going to all parts of the world to find some kind of love, because it cannot be found in America.
Yeah, don't do that either. Don't bring a third world chick to the United States and let her get a whiff of TikTok and Instagram and modern American women these days, because they're going to turn around and end up being just like that. There's some good women out there, but more oftentimes than not, you're gonna run into a chick that needs a 6'5" dude that makes $150,000 a year.
As we got a ground ball to third base, the throw to first. And that gets off the glove. Jimbo says, thank you. Rose was even worse and insufferable than
Pam from The Office. I didn't see The Office, so I don't know.
And neither did I. But Rose was pretty bad.
Let's take a look at Pam from The Office. Oh, her? Oh, yeah, she's kind of cute, though. She's a cutie. But yeah, okay. Yeah, but that actress kind of, she was in that, she was in Blades of Glory, the actress that played Pam from The Office. She played the sister in Blades
Cal
of Glory.
Raleigh has finally been taken out of the game, and I think it's going to be Harry Ford. No, it's going to be Michael Arroyo.
Yeah, let's see. Who else was
Now here's a ground ball right to the shortstop, throw to second, throw to first, and not in time. And as with Michael Arroyo being out, I I got to show this again.
Changes unannounced by the Spokane Indians. 1-0 pitch. Swinging a high fly ball right field. Deep. Down the line. Into the corner. It is gone.
I was the idiot that slipped and fell. I slipped and fell.
Who else was a good villain? Who else was a good
villain? Who is this guy? I think this is Donovan Solano. The throw to first. And that is... Who else was a villain? Daniel LaRusso from Karate Kid was a villain.
Daniel LaRusso? How was he a villain?
He was the real bully.
In what, Karate Kid?
Oh, and here's a fly ball to deep left field. Is it deep enough? And that is off the wall. And Luke Rayleigh looks like they're rounding him home. The throw to the plate, and he is way out. He's gone. He was gone by a mile. But you can't fault him for trying.
But Daniel was the bully who escalated conflicts. I'm trying to think because I can't remember the Karate Kid offhand. Karate Kid Part 1, Johnny Lawrence kind of really was the bully, but anything after Karate Kid Part 1, I don't remember.
Well, what did he say? Daniel LaRusso from Karate Kid. Fans argued that Johnny Lawrence was the real victim and Daniel was the bully who escalated conflicts, which I do believe he did because when they were at the beach, he was with Allie, but to be fair, and Johnny was upset about it, but they had already broken up. And then they started arguing, and then Daniel meddled in by he was like trying to get into the conversation. And then Johnny was like, "No, don't touch it, punk. Get out of here." And he warned him. He said, "Get out of here," repeatedly.
Yeah.
And then Daniel just couldn't. Daniel just couldn't stop it.
I think you might be right. By the way, do you know who's still a dime piece in 2025? Elizabeth Shue. Still. Adventures in Babysitting. Leaving Las Vegas. Ooh, Elizabeth Shue.
She certainly aged like fine wine.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of good female villains who were posed as non-villains. I'm trying to think.
Sam LaRusso from Cobra Kai.
From Cobra Kai.
If you saw Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I saw the first couple seasons of Cobra Kai. I'm trying to think.
No, Sam was the villain because she was hanging out with Robbie, even though it wasn't 100% her fault because her mom took the phone, but she didn't tell Miguel about the full details. And when they got into a fight, Sam jumped to conclusions and just broke up with him.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. Is she really a villain, or is she just a typical teenage girl that has no idea what she wants? I'm talking like adult female bully. Yeah.
Well, I was more of a Tori Nichols guy.
I can't necessarily put it on her because she's a teenage girl, and every single teenage girl has no idea what they want.
Who is another? Electra King from James Bond World Is Not Enough. She was an evil psychopath genius.
Ooh.
She kills her own father.
How about Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies?
Never seen it.
You never seen True Lies? Oh,
no.
One of the better Schwarzenegger movies ever. She's married to Arnold, but then, she kind of gets wrapped up with Bill Pullman a little bit. Only to backtrack a little bit. I'm trying to think. Good question. Pam from The Office.
Marla Singer from Fight Club.
Yeah.
As we are in commercial break. Princess Leia could have been a villain because she could have gotten Luke Skywalker and Han Solo to fight each other until George Lucas conveniently just made Princess Leia the sister of Luke.
Oh yeah, Tracy Flick from Election. That's a good one.
And we got Gabe Spire.
Oh yeah, Mean Girls. Yeah, Regina George. Yeah, Marla Singer from Flight Kill. Yeah, Helena Bonham Carter. Yeah.
We got bottom
Yeah,
of top of the 7th inning. We're looking at 0-1 from Gabe
Helena
Spire.
Bone Carter. Oh yeah, and even Hermione Granger from the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, she's up there.
Yeah,
I never really liked Hermione that much.
Yeah, Scarlett O'Hara. Yeah, Hermione, who never made her intentions known with George while leading Harry on. Yeah.
George, don't you mean Ron?
Ron Weasley, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and they didn't really do a good job with Harry and Ginny Weasley getting together. They did, the movie did a horrible job with it. The books did fine, but the movie was terrible about it. And that whole thing with, and then the whole thing when Harry Potter had a thing with Cho Chang.
Oh yeah, Cho. Yeah, but Cho's excusable again because she was with
Cedric Diggory.
Cedric Diggory, and Diggory got murdered, so you can understand the afterwards.
After this inning, we've got the take me out to the ball game, but we're at 3-2. Gabe Spire's already struggling to find his zone. He's not the 2023 Gabe Spire that we remembered and loved.
Yeah, the 2023 Gabe Spire. We'll see, man.
As we got to play to second base, the throw to first, and that is in time. And we got new players on the field already. A lot of replacements. We've got Ben Williamson. He's at third base, it looks like. Michael Arroyo is on, I don't know where he's at right now. They didn't make him the catcher, did he?
Arroyo, let's find out. So we got, let's see. Yeah, Dom Canzone looks like he's in. Looks like Master Boney is in. Looks like Jacob Nottingham is in. Arroyo's in. Samad Taylor's in. Williamson's in. Looks
Luis Seibel.
Louis Rivas is in. Colt Emerson is in. And it looks like Tyler, and Suizbel is in. Kathleen Kelly, you got mail. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Oh, Kathleen Kennedy of Star Wars is a villain.
So is Princess Leia.
You think? So you do think she's a villain?
Yeah, a little bit.
Why?
A little bit.
How? I'm looking forward to this one. Oh, Kathleen Kelly, Meg Ryan essentially destroyed Joe Fox.
Yeah. I think Princess Leia, because she was just a raging bitch the entire way, mistreating Han Solo.
No, her business got destroyed by Joe Fox, by Tom Hanks. As we got to play the first in time. I think that's a 1-2-3 inning. And before we get to anything else, all fans stand up, except us, and take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Wah, 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 wah.
I don't care if I ever get back, so let's root for the Mariners. If they don't win, it's a shame. Well, it's spring training, so I don't know what to say. So for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Angie Mentink is a villain too. I heard stories about that chick, even when she was married. That's all I'm saying.
When she was Angie Mentink or Angie Arlotti?
Both.
And somehow Mr. Mentink kept it together with her, or was willing to deal with it.
I don't think Mr. Mentink really knew.
Ooh. Then if there's stories about Angie Mentink, you would think that there's maybe stories about Jen Mueller, even though she's married too. I mean, what do you think happens in those videos where she's making food with those Mariners players? What do you think happens when they stop the record button?
Dude, I'm telling you, man. She's gotta make a panty change. Let me tell you what, man. That cologne, that cologne hits the nostrils, man. She gets weak in the knees. But yeah, Jen Mueller, man. She's cool. She's all right. I like Jen. She's all right. I wouldn't be surprised though. Yeah, the Arlotti, Angie Arlotti.
Somehow my feed is not working right now. Am I still gonna get the last 3 innings of this game?
Is she? By the way, is she still doing that Mariner cooking show?
I don't even know if she is. Oh, we got it back. We are back from the break.
Oh, by the way, March 31st through April 7th at this 3-day giveaway of the J-Rod Bat Flip bobblehead. So use your promo code with SeatGeek through RoofTopSports and get $20 off for your tickets, so you can get another useless piece of crap from the Seattle Mariners. So there you go.
As if I already got this one, Julio Rodriguez.
Let's see. Hold on real quick. Let's see what I got here. I got this one right here. I got the JP Crawford Funko Pop bobblehead. The bobblehead because I was at the game that night. Here's one right here, and as you can see, there's that right there. And if you guys can see that and see who it's signed by,
I can't see. Who is it?
Edgar Martinez.
This one's my favorite. Mariners A-Rod statue.
I also gave my oldest son my essentially what amounts to being a Babe Ruth signed baseball, but it was a Ken Griffey Jr. autograph baseball that I had. I gave it to my old son.
Holt Emerson is now on the game right now. And now here we have a fly ball to deep left center field, not deep enough.
Yep.
And he makes the catch.
Holt.
Oh, what we got? Meg Ryan asks,
Yeah.
NY 152 for business advice. He says, fight back.
Fight back. Frank
writes a viral column. Well, but her efforts failed anyway.
Oh, you know who else was a pretty good bully? Was Meg Ryan's character in When Harry Met Sally.
Never seen it.
Greatest rom-com ever made.
Luis Seibel now up on the plate and swinging a miss. He is a prospect out of Modesto. That's raw. That's raw meat, if you ask me.
The Modesto Nuts. By the way, I like the fact that Jonathan Shanka in the chat is breaking down the whole plot line of You Got Mail.
You've got mail. As we got a base hit by Luis Seibel with 2 outs so far.
That's a dude who's not as hot as he was in the 90s. Tom Hanks. That dude was
definitely got in the 90s. And now he got old.
I think the best of the big 3 that he made in the 90s, which was Philadelphia, Forrest Gump, and Saving Private Ryan, and it was
not Toy Story.
It was probably Philadelphia that was the best of all 3 of those.
What about Toy Story?
Yeah, Toy Story was cool. I like yeah, dude, but Denzel Washington in that movie, like that cast was unreal, man. That was such a good movie.
Oh, Dom Canzone looks like he just got the intentional walk. Oh, he got a walk.
Dom.
We got Master Brony, the man with a lot of jokes. That's gonna make a lot of jokes if he makes the team.
Master Boney. Yeah, I'm a big. Big was cool, man. Joe versus the Volcano was an underrated killer of a movie. I also was a big fan of Money Pit. Remember that one? Yeah. Yeah, he made some pretty good movies in the 80s too.
0-1 to the Master Boney.
Yeah, Master Boney. Yeah, Bachelor Party. Yeah. Have you ever noticed that every single Tom Cruise movie from like the late 90s all the way, the late 80s to the 90s had the same plot line?
You get the girl at the end?
Yeah, he was a fighter pilot who was struggling with confidence until he meets a girl, and then he regains his confidence again.
Like Jerry Maguire, where he was flying well as an agent, and then he just hit a huge wall.
Yeah,
Then
he loses confidence, and then he meets a woman, and then he regains his confidence again. He was a cocktail maker, and then he loses his confidence until he meets a woman, and then he gets his confidence back again.
And I think initially the girl broke up with him too.
Yeah.
I love Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire was a great movie. I liked how Brett Barry was in that movie. He's like, "Hey, can I have your autograph?" Nope, sorry, I'm too cool for you. He's like, "It's Brett Barry though."
I only sign upper deck blue chip cards. Sorry, little man.
Well, he was just a Clippers rookie. The pitch.
The only thing that made that movie was the fact that it was a Cameron Crowe movie.
Did you know that Pete Rose has the most hits and not in the Hall of Fame? Did you know that dinosaurs have these amount of bones?
Do you know that my next door neighbor has 3 rabbits? By the way, the best Tom Cruise movie ever. Yeah. Dave's the Thunder, young hotshot stock driver, loses his confidence, meets a woman, regains his confidence. But the best Tom Cruise movie was the one he did with Paul Newman, The Color of Money. Fantastic movie.
Ground ball base hit, and that's going to move the runner to the third base. Are they running home? Yes, they are. And the Mariners now have taken a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, but
that was the Master Brony.
One of the hottest chicks in Hollywood, or at least I thought, who was in Jerry Maguire, was John Travolta's wife, Kelly.
Was it the redhead?
Yeah.
Nah, she was weird.
Nah, she wasn't at all. Kelly Preston.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise broke up with her.
Yeah, because he's a Scientologist. He's weird. Yeah, I probably would break up with him too. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, and a fly ball to deep left field. Is that going very deep? That is gone. That is a home run by Jacob Nottingham. A 3-run home run. And the Mariners now extend their lead 5-1.
Yeah, Tom, you stay clear. I'm going to just kind of go over here. Color of Money is a sequel to a 1950 film featuring Jackie Gleason. Yeah, I knew that. Color of Money is awesome.
That thing was just absolutely blasted by Jacob Nottingham.
Yep, there it is. There it goes.
We are so back, baby.
Jacob Nottingham, who probably could be the backup catcher.
To Cal Raleigh?
If they just make what's his bucket? A flat out DH.
Mitch Garver.
Mitch Garver, yeah.
He hasn't played in Major League Baseball since 2021.
Yep, he's been toiling around AAA for the last couple of years. By the way, favorite Paul Newman movie ever was Slapshot, which coincidentally is the greatest hockey movie ever made.
Samad Taylor up to the plate. Now here's a ground ball right to the shortstop. Throw to first. In time. That will retire the side. But the good news is Mariners got runs out of it. 4 runs. And now they take a 5-1 lead.
Big inning. Let's see. What else? Best baseball movie? Probably Bull Durham. Probably. Yeah. Cool Hand Luke was awesome. I'm not gonna deny that. That was a good movie.
What about Major League over Bull Durham? Oh, my favorite scene in Bull Durham. Why are you shaking me off? I just want to bring in the heat. But you know this guy's a first ball fastball hitter.
Yeah, he hasn't seen
my heat. And I want to show him the authority. The authority of what?
Yeah.
He hasn't seen my heat yet.
You know, the plot of that movie was like a career minor leaguer, a career minor leaguer toiling in the minor leagues, trying to get to the big leagues, and he ends up going down to the bus leagues. But the best
I'm
baseball
the player
movie
to be named later.
Yeah, best baseball movie Jonathan likes is The Natural. Yeah, big Roy Hobbs guy. That's the thing. It's like, let me ask you a question. Is Field of Dreams a baseball movie, or is it a is it a reclamation movie of redeeming yourself with your father, that baseball is just surrounded by baseball?
I like that one.
Yeah.
The one with the redeeming.
Yeah, well, because it's a journey for him to forgive his father. That he never got to say sorry to his father, and then at the end he gets to have a catch with his father, right? And every single time I watch that movie, I end up crying at the end because it's such a beautiful movie. But is it a baseball movie, or does the plot just center around baseball?
Centers around baseball.
Yeah, that's like the conversation with Die Hard, right? They say Die Hard's a Christmas movie, and it's like no. It's an action film, but the plot is centered around Christmas, but it's not necessarily about Christmas.
James Bond on Your Secret Majesty's Secret Service. That was a movie just happened to happen during Christmas kind of movie.
But yeah, he says his favorite baseball movie is The Natural, and I like The Natural, man. I'm a big fan of
Robert Redford.
Yeah, and I think
losing is a disease as contagious as polio.
And I think Robert Duvall was in that movie. That was a good cast too. And then Michael Madsen was in that movie. That's a good movie. Yeah, no, see, here's the thing, right? Major League, if they didn't continue to make the Major League series and Major League was a standalone movie, that could have been a very good like standalone baseball movie, but they kept making them. And by the time it got to Major League back
to the minors,
it was pretty bad.
It was over.
By the way, I kind of like Back to the Minors because I don't know, I was kind of a big fan of Scott Bakula, but but by that time, Home Dude, instead of owning the Indians, Roger Dorn owned the Twins, and you had the dude who was in the Shield who played Downtown, and then
Tanaka
Tanaka was in it,
and Serrano
was in it. Yeah, it's like these guys.
But you gotta have, which they should have at least had Jake Taylor.
So what they should do now is have a new Major League, but this time it's like maybe you can have it like where Rick Vaughn is towards the end of his career, or like maybe he's a scout with the Indians working with Jake Taylor, who's like the GM of the Indians. You know what I mean? Like maybe there's like a cool way that you could reintroduce that movie with some of these original guys.
Just don't do the same plot.
No, like you can't because they're too old. They can't be players, right? So it's like
no, I mean, but don't do like the idea of like they're a shitty team and then they get caught fire out of nothing.
Right. But because they did it twice and it didn't work the second time around. Where they were good and then they were bad again, but then they caught fire and then they were good again. It's like you can't do that, right? So, but like there's a cool way you could do it where. You can have Charlie Sheen and you can have Tom Berenger and you can have some of those guys from the original cast. But like, they're older, so they're either coaches or they're like scouts or they're GMs or something like that, trying to build a winner with the Indians or something. I don't know.
I'm still waiting for Austin Powers, but I think it's too late at this point. Mike Myers is too old.
I heard they're going to do another Austin Powers.
How's it going to work, though? Is it going to be the same director, too? And can they do the same exact jokes as before? Because I don't think they can do most of those jokes that they did in Goldmember and first 2-3 Austin Powers.
By the way, what was the worst Austin Powers? 3, right? Goldmember?
I liked Goldmember, but when I saw the first 2 again, like just again, it wasn't at that level.
See, like that's the thing. It's like when you watch those movies again, like after 10 years, like it's the same type of thing where the first one would have been really, really awesome if it was just a standalone. You know what I mean? But they kept making movies. And it kind of watered it down.
And it went all the way down to Beyonce.
Yeah, what was her name? What was her? I don't know.
Elizabeth Hurley.
No, Felicity Shagwell was her screen.
Yes, she was obvious. I think she was the favorite out of all.
My favorite film surrounding baseball was Brewster's Millions. Great movie. Yeah, Brewster's Millions was awesome.
Trent Thornton now working on an 0-2.
You remember Trading Places? That was a great movie too. That had nothing to do with baseball. That was a great movie. I think it was Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, I think.
What about Mr. 3000?
Yeah, Mr. 3000 was all right, man. T-Rex Pennebaker.
You know, a movie I think that's going to age like fine milk eventually, like age milk. It's gonna be Moneyball.
I think Moneyball is actually one of the better baseball movies ever made.
It is, but the Mariners ruined it for me because of their obsessive practice of analytics, and they don't even do a good job with it.
No, like it will, because, if you read the book Moneyball, you get an idea of just exactly,
The book even admitted that Billy Bean's philosophy was not guaranteed success. He still couldn't depend on it.
But, one of the things that Billy did was he didn't have fear in implementing it, right? He was either all in or all out. He was all in, and it paid off. But, the thing was, and he reshaped baseball because of that. He reshaped baseball into a different way of thinking, which baseball kind of needed it to. I do not blame Moneyball for ruining baseball. I think it helped baseball a lot because it opened up different avenues of how to, like, there was, for decades, there was only one way every team did business, and it was on hunches and all these other things. And don't get me wrong, it's like the eye test is still a valuable thing, but the introduction of advanced analytics, like, that's the thing. It's like there should not be a one-all to be all way of scouting, but it did give another avenue for teams to scout. And now every single team has an analytics department because of it. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but we also saw the worst of it with the Seattle Mariners, though. By the end of the Scott Service era, where they were basically they were trying to base a lineup on launch angle, and that got ridiculous.
They took it too far.
And
sometimes when they made those moves, the analytics didn't even back it up. Like Robbie Ray versus Jordan analytically still didn't make sense because Robbie Ray got killed by the Astros and Jordan.
By the way,
pieces.
By the way, you are still hung up on that. Like, that was
hung up. We are both hung up on that.
Yeah, but I let it go. It was ridiculous. 100% it was ridiculous, and it let everybody know that Scott Service can't manage in the playoffs. That's what.
And yet he still got nominated.
But still, though, it's like, man, you're still not over it.
Well, maybe if Mariners made the playoffs last 2 years, I would have forgotten about it by now.
You know what I'm not over? I'll tell you what I'm not over. Okay, and this happened back in 2000 and 2001. David Justice off of Arthur Rhodes. I'm still not over that.
2001 was not David Justice, though. 2001 was...
2000 was David Justice, wasn't it?
2000 was David Justice in Game 6. 2001 was
Game 6, 2000.
Bernie Williams off of Arthur Rhodes.
Yeah, so everything suggested that lefty-lefty matchup versus David Justice was going to go Arthur Rhodes' way, and Arthur Rhodes grouped a fastball right down the middle of the plate. You can't do that with the two David Justice. But I'm still not over that. But and I'm also not over the Sonics leaving. But the thing about it is, it's like
Super Bowl 49, throw at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, I'm over that.
You're over that.
100%.
Why did Super Bowl 48 make up for it?
Yeah, we won a Super Bowl. We still won one.
But we could have prevented the greatest dynasty.
I will say that not handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch after still having a timeout. So the movie did not do the Oakland A's justice. But I will say this, though, that the thing about the 2002 Oakland A's is, if you remember, the Mariners led that division for a good portion of the season before coming unglued in August, where the A's just went on a roll. And the Mariners still won 93 games and still didn't make the playoffs.
Ben Williams set up the
and the fucking Angels won the World Series that year.
Out of random. It was most random. 2002 was weird. Mariners have a huge
I'm with Jimbo. Yeah, I'm with Jimbo. Yeah, the Jordan homer never got to me either because they were clearly the way better team. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And this was a young.
And here's a line drive, and that's going to drop in for a base hit, and Ben Williamson gets on base with a single.
Jimbo will never get over Super Bowl 49. I'm sorry. Yeah, well.
He's over it.
I'm over it. Yeah, because it's like it is what it is, man. We got to see. The fact that we absolutely dusted the Broncos in one half, like it was over at halftime.
It was over with the safety.
It was Super Bowl 48 was over at halftime, and then when Home Dew returned the kickoff to start the second half, that was the icing on the cake. It was over, right? So I can get over Super Bowl 49 because of what we did the year before. Good enough. It's Super Bowl. It was Super Bowl 40. No, was it Super Bowl
40
in Detroit that I can't get over because that was like the biggest what ever.
But Jeremy Stevens didn't help himself. He dropped very easy passes. He didn't. Jeremy Stevens and Josh Brown missed 3 field goals. Nick Dunn's up to the plate. And now the pitch. Now here's a ground ball right to second base. Could be double play ball. Throw to second, throw to first. Not in time. They got a man out on second base, but they will get their man. But the man on first base is still safe. And now we got next up to the plate. Alexa, turn on the lights.
Okay.
And we got Leo Rivas up to the plate. And I wonder if they're reviewing the call right now. Yeah, luck really did run out on the Seahawks. Here's Leo Rivas, and that is going to be a strike. Can't wait for opening day to finally happen. It's about 18 days away from opening day coverage. I will certainly be covering that game. Can't wait to do it. Leo Rivas is batting .233. He did last season, and that's going to be a foul ball.
I'll probably be around for opening day. I'll tell you what I'm really not over, and this is the one that really gets me, was the 93 playoffs, the 93 NBA playoffs. Going
Charles
out to the
Barkley
Denver
with all those free throws. Oh no, 94.
Yeah, 93, 94. Michael Jordan's gone playing baseball, and the Sonics had the best record in the NBA. And they go out in 5 games to the Denver Nuggets. Like, that was our year. And if we win the NBA championship in 94, it changes the entire trajectory of the Seattle Supersonics. If we win a championship, go ahead.
Would they have beaten Hakeem Olajuwon in the 94 Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, 100%.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Do they beat the New York Knicks of Patrick Ewing,
because
Derek Harper, John Starks?
Because if you remember, the year before in the NBA playoffs, the Houston Rockets had pretty much the exact same team and the Sonics dumped them out in the Western Conference Finals.
The only difference was they had Detlef. They traded away Derek McKee to get Detlef Schrempf.
What I'm saying is the Sonics were a better team. They had a good history against the Houston Rockets in the playoffs, even with Hakeem Olajuwon. And that was really there was that road to the NBA Finals. Had they won that NBA championship, that's a very good question. Like, do they get past the Knicks? Yeah, probably, because the Knicks were known as
the choke,
right? The Knicks find a way to lose, but had they won the 94, had they won the championship in 94, it changes the entire trajectory of that franchise. Even if they beat the Bulls in 96, it changes everything. Sonics
had this. Do you agree with me on this? I think we talked about this. I made the video. Should Dennis Rodman have won the 96 NBA Finals MVP over Michael Jordan? Because MJ had his worst shooting performance.
100%. Dennis Rodman was the reason why the Bulls were that good. Like, he effectively took Sean Kemp out of that entire series.
Twice.
Sean Kemp could not really be Sean Kemp in that series because of Dennis Rodman. And that's the thing. It's like the Sonics engine was Peyton and Kemp, right? And Peyton had his handfuls anyways in that series. And I know Gary likes to say that if he guarded MJ from game one, it would have been different. I don't know, man. They were without Nate McMillan, who was their best defender, best on-ball defender. But that being said, it's like, if Sean Kemp was able to be Sean Kemp in that series, maybe it changes. But maybe it goes 7. I don't know if they win it, though. That Bulls team was incredible.
Fly ball to deep right field. And is that gone? That is gone. I'm just kidding. It was off the wall. I can't tell.
Why is my stream down?
Colt Emerson with a double. Oh, I know. I think it's a home run. I think it might be.
But had the Soups not gone out in back-to-back years in the first round, and they at least win a championship of the 90s, it changes everything.
We get a new stadium?
Or we get a key arena remodel. One of the two.
A better one.
They stay in. And there's a good chance, by the way, that Barry Ackerley doesn't sell.
He got tired of it. The lockout must have been his final death blow.
Yeah, but I'll say this, though. It's like, yeah, but then he passes it down into his family, or maybe Wally Walker and his band of merry idiots.
And a fly ball to deep right center field, and that is gone. Luis Seibel with a 3-run home run, and this Mariners offense is kicking it on all cylinders.
How about Luis Seibel, man? Is he gonna make the run? No, I doubt it.
He's an A-level prospect, so no. Yeah, but maybe he'll get to A plus.
I'll tell you what, man. Colt Emerson with a nice little double, though. That was nice. That was pretty. Are you doing the Japan game, LA Dodgers versus the Cubs? Yeah.
I already said unlikely. My schedule just doesn't fit.
When do they play?
They play on the. I think they play on the 17th, but I'm going to be coming back. I'm going to be in Arizona.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't work for me.
When are you heading down to Peoria?
On March 15th.
So that's coming up next week, right?
Yep. Yeah. But I'm looking to do the Korea game possibly on Thursday.
What's the Korea game?
It's a qualifiers game as Gom Canzone just grounds out.
WBC, right?
I think the mistake I made was I think I had the volume up too high when I was doing the live streaming of the game. And I guess the Koreans or FIFA, they just pick up on that like freaks. Like if it was baseball, they wouldn't have given a poo-poo. But I think that's what it was. I had my volume up too high on the stream, so they caught up on the audio.
Yeah, I just did a live stream yesterday between the Seattle Sounders and LAFC. By the way, it's up on the YouTube page at Stateside Footy. Go ahead and give a like and subscribe.
But they don't. But FIFA doesn't care about that kind of soccer. They care about world soccer.
No, I mean Major League Soccer is a FIFA sanctioned league. They care because if you know what's happening this year, the FIFA Club World Cup is being participated in the United States, and there's a few Major League Soccer teams that will be in that tournament, including our Seattle Sounders. So that's a very big tournament this year. It's going to be interesting, man. The Sounders actually have a hell of a group to try to navigate.
Bold prediction: there's going to be an uptick in interracial marriage and foreign marriage for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Think about all the people coming into America. The gringos and the Americans don't even have to travel. I will say that games.
I will say, though, there will be a big. So, do you remember in the 2016 Summer Olympics in Brazil? I can't remember when that was. 2016.
Yes, it was. Yeah. It was in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah, and they broke the record for most condoms distributed for an Olympic Games. I will say that the World Cup
might break that.
Might of 2026. I will say that, the United States will be literally just, there's going to be a lot of condoms being used in the summer of 2026. Because you're absolutely right.
So I guess what we should do on the stock market, buy all the condom companies if they're low.
And there's Rooftop looking at the condom market. But you're absolutely right. I will say there'll be a lot of interracial bodily fluid swapped in the
Most
2026
likely.
World Cup.
So if you're a single man, there's your opportunity.
I remember during the Copa America Centenario of 2016 when it was hosted in the United States, and the U.S. men's national team played in Seattle in that tournament.
Did they play? Who'd they play? Was it like Honduras or
They played like Colombia. They played like Colombia, and there was a lot of alcohol and bodily fluid swapped on my part. That's all I'm going to say. It was fun.
But
Colombian women are gorgeous. Colombian women are gorgeous.
But a warning to all you Americans, keep your cups on your hand at all times. Even if you're going to the bathroom, keep your hands on that cup.
Or just take your cup to the bathroom.
Pretty much, as we're at the final inning, as we were looking at a 1 and 2 count.
Yeah, you don't want anybody to slip you Mickey. This conversation's gotten a little off the rails, but yeah.
I mean, when we're in spring training baseball. Wait, is that? No, it's not Matt Brash. I thought it was Brash for a second. And the pitch.
In Colombia, they have a drug called. They have a drug
Devils
called
breathe and make men into zombies.
Like literal zombies, or
maybe they just act like zombies and just dysfunctional.
Yeah, dude.
2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
I wonder if you can get a Mickey. Like, how do you slip a Mickey? Like, remember back in the day when, you in those old timey movies, were like, man, slip you a Mickey.
Wouldn't know.
I wonder if you can get like a Mickey distributor.
I can't wait to go to these games. I really want to go to these games.
Donate their organs and empty bank accounts in Colombia. That doesn't sound cool at all. I still want to go to Colombia.
You know what I would say? You know what Hagrid once say? If you know where to go. So someone would ask, hey, is it safe to be in Colombia? If you know where to go. Location.
That's funny. Like, as Hagrid once said, I wasn't supposed to tell you that. Nope.
No, I shouldn't have told you that. I should not have said that. I should not have said that. Hagrid really was a great character in those movies. He's a down-to-earth guy.
Buckbeak has been sentenced to death.
Poor Buckbeak, but good thing they brought him back.
Yeah.
And it's all because of Malfoy and his stuck-up thing. Look to my father, he was about this.
Malfoy.
And then by the 6th movie, he got checked out. He just wanted his normal life. He was done with the whole evil agenda.
Well, no. By the 6th movie, he was a Death Eater. He had already been infected. It was in the 7th. It was in the 7th movies where he was like, I don't think this is for me.
This is not for me.
This isn't for me. And, poor Lucius Malfoy, man. Has there been a bigger fall from grace in the movies than Lucius Malfoy?
He lost everything.
Yeah.
And I think Malfoy stopped talking to his family after that because of it.
Well, so allegedly, according to the creator of Harry Potter, that would be
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling. He married a girl by the name of Greengrass or something like that, with the last name of like Greengrass.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But she was a half-blood, and of course the Malfoy father didn't like it. That being said,
pure blood.
Yeah, but Narcissa Malfoy was happy because she got a grandchild out of it, right? So it's like, you still had, even though that Lucius Malfoy fell from grace and was able to kind of reclaim some of his riches, he still kind of had that pure blood mania, even as his grandchild,
Yeah.
Lucius.
By the way, the Mariners game just ended as they exploded with an 8-1 victory thanks to all of the backup units, Colt Emerson, Luis Seibel, and Jacob Nottingham. So the Mariners come away with the win. And I am projected to come back on the 14th because that's gonna be the spring breakout game where they're gonna let all the kids play. So that will be a fun game to follow. And then I'll be going right to sleep to get ready for spring training ball on the plane.
There you go.
And yes, Jonathan, thank you very much. Thank you for being on this show. And
yeah, thanks for hanging in there, man. We just kind of this is what we do with spring training, and sometimes we do it a lot in regular season as well too, because there's a lot of games where the Mariners are done by the third inning, and we still have 7 more innings to go. So we have to figure out ways to get to the stream. So we'll talk about whatever
random shit.
Yeah, we'll talk about condom distribution in the 2016 Olympics.
But an opening day it'll probably be much more serious business because we're all about Mariners baseball until they get their asses whooped.
Allegedly, we're about Mariners baseball. Allegedly, that's the plot. But there's also plot twists, and it also depends on the aggressiveness of said Mariner baseball team.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that is all going to do it. And Steve, thank you for being on the show. And the commenters, Jonathan and the other guy, Jimbo, thank you for being here too. And we will see you again in the near future. And go Mariners.
Go Cougs.